Happy Friday. I am, I think I'm live. I believe I got live on Twitch. I'm just getting live on YouTube and Twitch. But not just happy Friday. I'm just going to say this over and over. Happy Trump promised no new wars Friday. And people respect Trump so much that we have started World War III. Does anyone remember that? This would never happen if I was president. No one would dare attack each other because they fear me. Not only does no one respect Trump, I mean, we are funding a country's military and protections for them with our tax dollars, and they respect him so little that in the middle of him negotiating a deal with Iran, they attack. I mean, and this is the worst attack Israel has ever commenced against Iran. But right? No new wars, right? Because people respect Trump. This is no new wars Friday the 13th because Trump is a fraud. And I mean, I do like when Trump pathologically lies, and it's just always inevitable that his own delusional, narcissistic beliefs about himself are proven wrong. Give me 1 second. I'm just finishing getting live on YouTube. Thank you for the stars. I love those stars. I don't know if those are for like Pride Month or what they're for, but they're super cute. Sorry, I gotta put on lip. It is so dry in Phoenix. It is. I feel like my lips are, if I don't constantly have some sort of lip stuff on. Thanks to Gumps, I have so much lip stuff. I just keep putting on. In Arizona, no matter how much chaps, no matter what you put on, it feels like you're a scaly reptile and your skin is about to crack into pieces at any moment. It's disgusting. Actually, I think on that note, I'm going to turn my air down just a little bit because it is so hot right now. Hold on 1 second.
You know that paper is more sophisticated now than computers.
Thank you for the star, Julie. Thank you so, so much. Let me just make sure we are live on YouTube. Hey, Max. Hey, Steph. Thanks for always being here. I was just, Steph, that's so funny. I didn't even read that comment. I was about to be like, hey, Leah. And I was like, oh my God, is Leah here? Hey, Fish Chucker, you're on YouTube. I think this is Steph. You did beat Leah. Leah is late to class. Keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 50K as soon as possible. I have my anti-anxiety necklace that someone got me from my Amazon wish list. Hopefully that will help us get through today. Probably, I don't think any anti-anxiety tools are going to work any longer. Oh, Fish Trucker, thank you for I've $3.33. You're the best. Thank you so much. Oh, Jesus, this outline. Might be the longest outline I've ever made. I screen recorded every Hegseth clip that's gone on this week, everything he said under oath, and everything Scott Bessent. I mean, I tried to get the most relevant stuff. I screen recorded it all. I think I could be live until tomorrow I won't do that to you, but I'm just saying, this may be the longest outline I've ever made in the history of the People's Receipts. Just a reminder, Monday is my birthday. The only thing I want for my birthday is help. I had to buy a DSLR camera like Pickles has because it doesn't look bad right now. Like I have the live on an iPad, it looks good. But then when I use the AI program software we use to clip our lives, or even when I don't, just the content is not good. It's cloudy and terrible. So finally, I sprung for, the same lens Pickles has. Unfortunately, I never knew how much this stuff cost. My sister's really into cameras. I mean, I was the editor-in-chief of the yearbook, but that was more me telling people to take pictures, not like knowing how much cameras cost. Like, good Lord, these things cost a lot of money. But the good news is, hopefully by June, my birthday is June 16th, Monday. I think the camera comes on June 17th. The lens will be here, I think, tomorrow. So by then, hopefully, our content will be as clear and beautiful as pickles. That's the goal. So if you would like to give me a birthday present, this is my Cash App and Venmo. I'm just asking, I mean, literally everyone that knows me in life, don't get me a present. I just want help paying for this, and that would be awesome. It's because, it's funny. It's like, yeah, this small business is super expensive, but it's also the most valuable, awesome thing I've ever done. Like, building this and reinvesting in this, and well, us, I feel like it's reinvesting in all of us, is literally my favorite thing ever. It's all I think about. So thank you guys so much for your support. I've showed you guys before, like, this whole setup I have like 5 monitors and like 2 iPads. Like, right now this is being cast from an iPad. So, and audio mixer, everything I have has basically just come from free market capitalism, and then I just reinvest it back into this. So this is like going to be, once we get the camera and the lens, I feel like we'll really be like next level. So yeah, just side note. I feel like I had one more thing I needed. Oh yeah, I guess I should just repeat for, if you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? Join the Discord. But funniest thing happened to me. Do you guys do grocery deliveries? I had oh my God. I'm sorry. There's some sort of something crawling across one of my, sorry, it was just a big fly. I thought in the corner of my eye that there was like a spider on one of my monitors. I'm not like super bug averse, but anyways, I had groceries delivered right now. Well, while I was clipping all these clips of Pete Hegseth being an idiot, and I forgot. So, they just threw the groceries at the door and left. So the ice cream that I had gotten for like Father's Day and my birthday celebration that my family, I'm assuming we might have, was on its side, and it created a giant ice cream puddle. Actually, for all my non-dairy people, it's non-dairy. It's oat milk Oreo from Breyers. At Walmart, it's like $3.87. I don't know why I'm telling you this. It's really cheap and delicious. If you are non-dairy and want like a non-dairy frozen dessert recommendation, yum yum. The oat milk is super creamy, but now the ants are eating it. Well, I sprayed it. I sprayed the sidewalk down, but basically a colony of ants had gathered and were lapping up the of non-dairy frozen dessert. So it's been, makes me wish I got that pressure washer Matt was recommending on his page. I could have used it a second ago to blow away the thousands of ants that were attacking. Ants are the most amazing creatures. Okay, we have so much to talk about. So without delay, give me 1 second. I'm just thinking in my brain again. Well, I'll just show you this, and then I'm gonna have to skip around here in the beginning. We'll just see how it goes, because I have so much to talk about. But again, most important day today. It is Friday the 13th, which is super fitting because it's no new wars. One of Trump's longest and most delusional lies. I mean, it's how many times have people attacked other people since Trump's been in office? I mean, countless. But I think this one, I mean, I invite everyone to look into the severity of what Israel is doing to Iran. There's never been an attack like this, right? They've done a lot of stuff with Mossad clearly organized this attack, but like they made their turbines like spin out of control in their uranium enrichment facilities or things like that, but they've never bombed them. Everyone respects Trump so much that they would never do this, right? Isn't that what Trump's been saying for the last 4 years? No, there would never be a war if I was president. Imagine how humiliated and emasculated and impotent he truly is. He's trying to negotiate, mind you, and let's get this real clear. Actually, maybe that's where we'll start, because I One of my pet peeves is delusional MAGA who can't read talking about Trump pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal and not understanding that every single thing Trump said, well, not every single thing, but let's say the amount of lies when he pulled us out of that the nuclear deal were just catastrophic, right? And I found a video because when Pickles and I were debating on Wednesday, and I was talking about the rate at which Trump lies, because you know what they do. Then they're like, everyone lies, yeah, both sides, blah, blah, blah. My brain doesn't work. So I was talking about like the rate at which Trump lies and how it far exceeds the rate at which most normal people lie, right?
More
And
sophisticated now than computers.
then they're like, oh, who's tracking the database lies? Washington Post, that's fake. Which again, then I had to explain to that gentleman that no, I don't care if you get your or your news from Newsmax or from the Washington Post or from wherever. It doesn't matter. What you do once you receive information from a secondary source is you then go to primary sources to confirm it. And yes, the database of 30,000 plus lies from Trump's first administration, when you look at it, it in fact is correct because you can verify that Trump did in fact tell those lies. And most of them to this day has not stopped telling them. So I want to show you guys, because I think this is a good place to start. Since it is No New Wars Friday, right before Trump wastes 40 plus million on a military parade for himself for his birthday, that he is also paying people $1,000 in crypto to show up to because nobody wants to be there. He's now getting us involved in World War III because people respect him so little. Imagine, we are paying for Israel's army. We are their military. We are the funding that funds all of their military action. And while the president of the United States is negotiating a nuclear deal with Iran, they laugh in his face and attack. Let me pull up this video. But another thing I want to say, because I've noticed, like, I've been on X, not recommending anyone get on X, but unfortunately I'm always on there trying to keep track of what these weirdos are lying about now. And one thing I keep noticing is people saying like, well, Trump had no idea this was coming. Okay, that's not true. The United States absolutely knew something was coming. And if you don't believe me, look it up. We've been evacuating diplomats. We've been evacuating citizens. We knew the entire time. Oh, Scotty. Actually, Scotty, I do like your name, but Scotty Too Hottie is actually a really cute name. So just first of all, but if you are, sorry, I was reading the Garrett Dive. That's a cool name too. Okay. Yeah. Scotty Too Hottie. This is not the place for idiocy. Right? Normally when I debate, I find it funny when people who are idiots call me a liar, but this is not that. So if you distract people in the comments, I have to block you. I don't want to do it. I would like you to stay, but if you continue, then I just have to block you. So block my Vade account. What's your Vade account? What is it? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Listen, I've really blocked people. I just became this way because my therapist was like, you don't have to put up with anything. And so ever since the election, I block people on whim. So sometimes I block people and I don't even know I did. So yeah. If I did, or it could be mods too. Just remember that also. Sometimes like people are like, you blocked me. And I'm like, I don't remember ever doing that. So which one? Did you say your main account name? What's your call? Did you say what it is? I didn't see if you said the name. Just tell me what the name is. And then I can look. You literally glow. I'm not being weird. It's the melanin. It's the one good thing about, it's the one great thing about, the lack of skin cancer. Thanks, Dad. It's all the melanin. Makes me look good. But I was going to say, it's happening. I have to have like 17 different makeup colors because my skin changes color so much with the with the seasons. And I was noticing today, I was like, oh, my makeup doesn't match my skin. I need to change again. Here's Judy. Oh yeah, here's _ Judy. I have no idea. Yeah. Because sometimes, like, I have a pretty good memory, and if you saying that, usually if you say the name and then it's like something that annoys me, then I would remember. I don't remember. So let me just actually, Chrissy, are you here? Can you look and unblock that account? Sorry, hold on. So, did you hear that? I opened my TikTok account and it's someone saying, working in a strip club, number one demographic. I have no idea what that was, but that's my algorithm. I am working towards being an S worker. I'm just assuming in the recession I need to become one. Here, hold on. I'm looking right now because I just want to do this now before I forget. Give me, let's see, privacy. Blocked account. Here's, I don't even see, and this, I haven't even blocked that. Oh, it is here. Sorry, and that's weird because I know the people, and I feel like the person underneath, I blocked a Canadian. That seems wrong. Dawn, if you're here, I'm sorry. I'm gonna unblock you too because maybe so I have really fat fingers. Like, I don't know. Sorry if I'm blocking people. I don't mean to. I blocked the at dawn the sunshine. I'm blocked that account too because I never. Why would I block a Canadian, a woman? That seems wrong. So sorry if I have really fat fingers and I don't know. So if I might have blocked a couple people on accident or someone else did. I don't recognize or remember doing either of those. Okay, we've got to get going. Let me find this fact check. Again, what I want to just remind everyone of is all the lies Donald Trump told when he backed out of the Iran nuclear deal, right? Because that's why we're essentially in this situation we're in now. Trump did something dumb, lied about it, nonstop, then said, like Republicans do, or I prefer to say like conservatives do, then this year is like, why don't we have a nuclear deal with Iran? Someone needs to negotiate a nuclear deal, right? It's like, yeah, we did have one. You backed out of it. Republicans create problems, conservatives create problems. Then they're like, hi, I'm here to fix the problem. Hopefully no one remembers that I created. And now, in the midst of him pretending that we're not in this situation because of him in the first place, and in my personal opinion, I think he wanted to negotiate with Iran because he was getting real scared because they were trying to unalive him, and have been for quite a long time. So I think he's like, yeah, maybe we should figure this out. And then what happens? Now we're entering World War III. Here, let me just, oops, hold on. Here we go. So I love Now This. I talk about that account. They're on TikTok. They have several different accounts. I assume it's either it's like a 501c3. I'm not sure if it's like for profit or not, but anyways, this is the Now This Impact account. I love this one. So we fact checked. This is from 2018, like after when Trump backed out of the Iran nuclear deal, which is now why we're about to enter World War III. They fact checked it. And I believe, if I remember this correctly, he was lying every 83 seconds or something. It's pretty on par with the 30,000 plus, the database of 30,000 plus lies that exist. But now that we're all going to war, no new wars, everyone respects me so much. No one would attack each other while I'm president. Let's all remember how he got us into this giant disaster in the first place.
The deal allowed Iran to continue enriching uranium and, over time, reach the brink of a nuclear breakout. The deal lifted crippling economic sanctions on Iran in exchange for very weak limits on the regime's nuclear activity. Today, we have definitive proof that this Iranian promise was a lie. The agreement was so poorly negotiated that even if Iran fully complies, the regime can still be on the verge of a nuclear breakout in just a short period of time. If I allowed this deal to stand, there would soon be a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. Everyone would want their weapons ready by the time Iran had theirs. Making matters worse, the deal's inspection provisions lack adequate mechanisms to prevent, detect, and punish cheating, and don't even have the unqualified right to inspect many important locations, including military facilities. We have engaged extensively with our allies and partners around the world, including France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. We are unified in our understanding of the threat and in our conviction that Iran must never acquire a nuclear weapon. If we do nothing, we know exactly what will happen. In just a short period of time, the world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons.
Trump's a liar. I mean, I think we already all know that, but it's just important since he's about to drag us into World War III so he doesn't have to leave office, possibly. Just throwing out, and again, these are just things I want people to think about, right? Like, we can all say, why is he doing this? Did he know? First of all, I just want to make it clear. We know that Israel gave some warning to the United States, and I assume our intelligence agencies aren't completely inept, that, that they were about to attack Iran. We know that because the United States was evacuating people from Iran, diplomats and things of that nature. So it's not that Trump didn't know at all. He definitely knew. So I do think it's for all the people who are like, oh, he had no idea this was going to happen. No, he definitely knew. It would be honestly worse. Like, just when I think about, I don't know what is going on. It's this stupid search bar won't leave Streamlabs, so I can't tell. Sorry, I'm just trying to make. So I'm trying to make there's some stupid search bar. Okay, it's gone. Thank God. I'm just trying to make sure I can see on Twitch and YouTube if people send me messages or stuff, and I use the Streamlabs stream to tell what's going on YouTube, X, and Twitch, and I couldn't for a second. So again, yeah, okay, so I'm not crazy. See, Trump averaged one false claim every 83 seconds of his speech of the Iran deal. Trump is a liar. Now, whether or not, if you want to say he's not lying, he's just an idiot, or he's not lying, he's completely senile, yeah, I'll have that. Yeah, okay. He could be a combination of a pathological liar and a senile idiot. That could be true. Also, I can also just say lying for malignant narcissists is different, right? There's lies. I'm not saying narcissists cannot lie. They absolutely can lie. But what Trump is doing a lot of the time is actually called confabulation. And I talked about this a lot. It's different than lying, right? Like, narcissists, narcissism is a survival strategy. I'm not talking about narcissistic traits. I'm saying narcissistic personality disorder. It's just a set of survival strategies. It's a set of strategy skills that are just repeated over and over. And confabulation is basically like how narcissists are surviving from infancy, is saying in their head, I'm God, and no one can ever hurt me again. No one can hurt God. God knows everything. God can do no wrong. And anything that is incongruent with that idea, I call confabulation wallpapering. Because when I watch my mom do it, it is a difference between lying. It's for survival. It's like papering over reality. Anything that's incongruent with the idea that they're perfect and can do no wrong, you can see them literally wallpapering over that reality to agree with who they are now. And that's Trump to a T, right? Like, yeah, the grandiose sense of self. They have to maintain that, right? When there's a little crack in that, that's what they call narcissistic injury, narcissistic collapse, right? And it is very dangerous for a narcissist to go into collapse because what's underneath there? Nothing. They're a scared infant. Like that grandiose sense of self, that house of mirrors saying you can do no wrong. It is very important that that stays in place. That is their defense mechanism against the world. And remember, not all people with narcissistic personality disorder, but specifically malignant narcissists. Like at the Nuremberg trials. Oh, now I forgot the name of the lead psychiatrist in the Nuremberg trials. But you guys know how much I love psychiatry, and I've read like those research papers on the Nuremberg trials on the schmazzies. Mustache Man was a malignant narcissist. And the difference between a malignant narcissist and someone with just narcissistic personality disorder is malignant narcissism is a defense against a defense against a defense. It is saying like, hey, my normal defense, like a normal narcissist, that's the grandiose self, the house of mirrors. I'm God. I can do no wrong. When they get under stress, their second defense is what? Psychopathy, right? If you put a malignant narcissist under stress, you back them into a corner, they fear narcissistic injury. Here comes psychopathy. And the third defense, the defense against the defense against the defense is sadism. And that's why it's important to understand malignant narcissism, and that at the Nuremberg trials, the schmazzies were identified specifically as malignant narcissists who had that, whatever they call it in psychology, or I don't know if I don't think they call it the same thing now in the DSM, but it used to be called like the dark triad. Anyways, but I digress. We could talk about what the F is wrong with Trump's brain all the time, but I think that's why the no new wars. Like, you have to understand, Trump isn't in his mind lying. He's telling you what he believes. I am God. People fear me. I am perfect in every way. Nobody would dare defy me. If I was president, none of this would be happening because I'm God. But it turns out once he did get in the presidency again, what happened? No one actually respects them. And it'll be interesting to watch Trump operate now, because now reality is incongruent, right, with the belief in his head. And this is when the psychopathy and the sadism starts coming out. But I'll point out this. We know that he knew. We know they were evacuating American diplomats and people from Iran. They knew that Israel were going to attack. So how could Trump benefit from that? How could this also be a good thing? I've said this long ago. I think the easiest way for Trump to stay in office is a World War III, right? That's how Netanyahu is still in office. Wartime. What's the easiest way to not leave, right? Wartime. So I don't think this is necessarily even that bad. Trump can just blame it on, he's just going to blame it on Biden somehow or someone else, just deflect, get an army of paid people to lie for him, and then we shall see. How do we stop it? Well, we'll get more into it. I mean, we have to wait and see what if you're talking about this specific situation with Israel and Iran. I mean, we could stop funding their military. Remember, that's what Biden was trying to do, right? And this, I don't want to scare you. This is not going to end. The line of logic of it's not going to be good news. But remember, Biden didn't want to send more weapons to Israel because of what they were doing to the Palestinians. But if you follow the Constitution and the laws, you can't violate impoundment laws, right? You can wait 45 days. Right, up till 45 days. But if Congress appropriates funds, you eventually have to allocate it. That's when Trump was impeached the first time. That's what it was for. He was holding up money that was supposed to go to Ukraine, and he was basically blackmailing Zelensky. You can't hold funds. But Trump is in violation of so many parts of the Constitution. That's what they're screaming about in Congress. When I just screen recorded like 50 clips of Scott Bessent under oath this week, that's what they're saying. They're saying we've appropriated funds and that we don't know where they're going. We have no visibility into where this money's going. You're not putting it where we told you to put it. And Trump seems to not care any longer about following the laws. It makes you wish maybe Biden could have stopped following the laws or something, because I don't wish that. I don't think that's the answer. I don't think we need to, but look where we are now. When you get someone in office who has no fear and doesn't care about doing what's right, it's a scary proposition. Let me show you. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm just trying to remember the order here. I wanted to show you guys this. So and I'm not going to show the video because this is complete Israeli propaganda. This is from the X account of the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. This is extreme propaganda. So I'm not going to play the video, but basically this is from 13 hours ago. Recent intelligence. This is the IDF lying. Recent intelligence shows Iran is nearing the point of no return in its race toward a nuclear weapon. All intelligence from Europe, from the US, from the Five Eyes says the opposite. It's just so you're clear. This is not true. This is remember what happened when they were exterminating Palestinians, and then all of a sudden the propaganda comes out. This is the justification. This is the propaganda. The regime is producing thousands of kilograms of enriched uranium alongside decentralized and fortified blah, blah, blah. Shomar, I don't need to write that. But what I wanted to show you is this response. American spy agencies in recent weeks have not changed, and this is true because I've been reading these reports, have not changed a long-standing assessment that Iran, despite its advanced uranium enrichment work, has not moved to transform that effort into an actual nuclear device. And I don't know if anyone's thinking already about the parallels. Thank you for the flower crown. I love flower crowns. I don't know if anyone's thinking about parallels, but I see this pattern developing of, remember Bush, not Bush 1, George W., and let's invade Iraq because they've got weapons of mass destruction and there was nothing there. That's exactly the line of logic that the IDF is trying to set up. Hey, we need to invade Iran because they've got quote unquote weapons of mass destruction, which all intelligence says they don't, that they're using it for, nuclear power, that they have not taken the enriched uranium and made any effort to actually build a weapon. There's no intelligence that says that, but here comes the propaganda campaign to say otherwise, to try to give Israel and America some justification to bulldoze Iran, which again, when I think about it and I debate both sides, how could Trump benefit from this? If World War III happens, then he can stay in power. That's, I think, the easiest thing. But even U.S. intelligence, which, is led by people who are not so intelligent anymore, but say that they have not taken that enriched uranium and moved to transform that into an actual nuclear device as of now. That's what intelligence reports said. Now, I just have to, this is funny. Mark Wayne, insider trader Mullen, because I can't stand the insider traders in Congress. So that's what I'll be calling him now. Mark Wayne, I tried to fight a union leader and I'm an insider trader. Mark Wayne Mullen said this was this morning. I love Aaron Rupar. He's an independent journalist. Follow him on Substack if you don't. Counterpoint Taco. Listen to Mark Wayne Mullen. And it's funny because conservatives can't hear how it's like they walk right into these jokes.
What the Iranians need to know is that this isn't the Biden administration. This is President Trump. He does not bluff.
Trump doesn't bluff. Tell that to Trump always chickens out. Tell that to the Wall Street strategy base that bases trade strategies around Trump absolutely chickening out. Trump's whole life is, I mean, it depends on what you call a bluff. Like, I mean, Trump's just a pathological liar, but what are you talking about? All tacos, yeah, tacos can tacos lie? Now there's a good We don't know. This was like one of the first responses. Like, if you look at this video underneath, people aren't even saying things. They're just putting pictures of tacos. Which, it's like, you walked right into, oh, Trump doesn't bluff? Like, are you okay, sir? Are you okay? Like, stick to insider trading. You're better than it. You're better at that. Representative Derek Van Orden, his name's Derek, right? I hope I got that right. I think his name's Derek. If it's not, sorry. But is his name Derek? Did I make that up? I hate when I might have made that up in my head. If his name's not Derek, someone in the comments tell me, is Van Orden's name Derek? I get scared when I make things up and I'm like, is that real? Or did I just Derek? It is. He's my useless. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's the guy that keeps scheduling town halls and then moving them across town. Like, he schedules fake town halls and then, like, people try to confront him and then he secretly moves it, like, and only lets people he knows won't be mean to him there. Now yeah, I do remember that his name is Derek. Okay, listen to what Derek said this morning.
More. The time for joking is over. These folks have been trying to get nuclear weapons and start a global thermonuclear war for a long period of time. They cannot be trusted. They are not trusted.
U.S. intelligence, European intelligence says the exact opposite of that. You are just saying things that you feel are true. Like that, none of that is true. But that's what I'm saying. Now, also another thing that comes to mind, remember I said in my notes app on my phone, in like my Apple phone, in the notes app, I have a list of all the leftists. Everyone thinks I'm always just attacking MAGA. Well, I have a list in my phone of all the leftists, whether they had 5,000 followers or 500,000, who said they just couldn't vote for Kamala. And then I would do a little dash and I would write whatever asinine reason they were saying was why. You know, some of them had several, whatever. And one of the themes that would come out was like, I don't like her strategy around Israel Palestine. Is this working for you? Is this what you wanted? You guys, yeah, like you wanted Palestinians to have no food or water for like over 100 days now? Was that what you guys were working towards? You guys always make such great decisions. Don't worry, I have the list. I'm keeping an eye on all of you. I think you should probably just vote and stop trying to be a hero. Anyways, so he's saying things that aren't true, and it makes me picture. Keep in mind, they did know. The United States knew that Israel was going to do what they did. That's why we were evacuating diplomats. So it's almost like they let them do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying they knew. Trump could have gone public and said, I don't want this to happen. There's rumblings of this. This is what intelligence reports say. If this happens, like, we might not be able to fund Israel's military anymore. Since Trump has gotten in office, what has happened, right? Biden negotiated a ceasefire, and then what has happened is we've just watched conservatives, and I was going to say stand idly by, but I want to say cheer it on. Picture Marco Rubio. Picture Mike Huckabee Sanders. He's like the ambassador to Israel or whatever. I mean, this is what they want. These super pro-Israel evangelicals that believe, and if you're not aware of this, I was raised as an evangelical, so I am painfully aware of how this goes. If you're not aware of why conservatives are so into Israel, they believe that the New Testament tells them that they need to have control of that land, that Israel needs to have control of that land for when Jesus comes back. I wish I was kidding, but if you want to know why conservatives believe they need to save Israel, it's for religious reasons. Like my mother, um, like sends money to Israel. Like to the IDF through, I don't know if you guys have ever watched like religious networks, but they fundraise for Israel. My mom will be like, "Oh, I sent $100 and I got this vial of holy water." I'm like, someone filled that up in the toilet and mailed it. Like, stop. Like, my mom is one of those people that thinks she got like a vial of water from some like sacred, like, like vat of Israel holy water. I don't know, but that's why they're all like this. And Derek Van Orden has been like this for a long time, so he's not kidding. Okay, so now that I've said all that, listen to how crazy he sounds. And this is completely normal. Like Marco Rubio, I guarantee you, he's like, yeah.
More. The time for joking is over. These folks have been trying to get nuclear weapons and start a global thermonuclear war for a long period of time. They cannot be trusted. They are not trusted. And if they strike out against Americans and our allies, we're going to end them. I don't know how I can say that in a more strenuous way. Iran will never be allowed to have nuclear weapons, period.
Message is very clear here on the program. Again, the president currently in that NSC meeting, at least that's what we're told. So we're hoping to potentially learn more, or at least the president will, no doubt.
Newsmax is a poor excuse for news. Yeah, Iran, all intelligence reports say they don't. Now, I just want to reiterate how crazy this is. Trump is the one who undid the Iranian nuclear deal. If you're just joining us, I was playing like a 3-minute fact check. He lied every 86 seconds when he announced that he was backing out of the nuclear deal. Then a couple months ago, he announces, "I can't believe we don't have a nuclear deal with Iran." Which is conservatives' favorite thing, is to create huge problems and then act like they're identifying them for the first time and save us from the problems that they created. Sort of like, in effect, the southern border. Like they create unrest in every third world country that has a land bridge to us, devalue their currency, sanction them, drive them into hopeless poverty, crime rises, people flee north, and then Republicans are like, how did this happen? Oh, we need to save people from the brown people that we ruined their country's economies and turned them off, and now they were fleeing the inevitable violence that comes when crime rises due to poverty. What's a hurricane? Exactly. What's a hurricane? Oh, there's hurricanes? You can't write the weird scenarios we're in. These are problems created by Republicans, and then they're like, don't worry, MAGA will save you, and MAGAs can't read or do basic math, so they're like, okay. And that's why we're all trapped living in this nightmare, because MAGA refuses to read or do math. I'm hopeful soon they might start. I was really the best thing about Elon Musk, like kind of freaking out and starting to say the truth, was I was like, oh, maybe people will actually listen. Probably not. But here, let me show another clip real quick. This is Elizabeth Warren talking to Chris Hayes yesterday about this.
I want to get your reaction to the idea that the Israelis just launched a preemptive strike on Iran.
Right. This is deeply disturbing. And look, I don't agree often with the Trump administration, but I think here it is important to say we need more negotiation, we need de-escalation, we need to get to a deal. This has the possibility of spinning entirely out of control. So we need to get these parties back to a negotiating table. We need the administration in there helping try to negotiate something among them. This is truly a dangerous situation.
I have to.
And I think that this is a strategy you're going to see often from Democrats lately. I keep watching the same line of logic, which is to agree with conservatives when it is not that you don't recognize it's probably their fault in the first place, but the only way to appeal to MAGA since they're in cognitive dissonance is to start with, well, I agree with Elon Musk. Trump, because then I think they're a little bit more likely to listen. If you say the truth, right, which is, well, he backed out of the nuclear deal, lied about why, and who that benefited, and now we're here. Like, yeah, I think they're much less likely to listen. So I think in Congress, understand why you'll hear people. I'll show you in a little bit because, like I said, I screen recorded all of the debates around the big, beautiful bill in Congress this week. And Elizabeth Ward, it's hilarious because she's always like, well, she's talking, like tearing Scott Besson apart. And she's like, yeah, well, I agree with Elon Musk. And he's like, I can't believe we're here. Or, I can't believe you're saying that. She's like, no one's more surprised than I am. And by the way, after what I have to show you today, you will hate Scott Besson. He's the most disrespectful person I've ever seen. Like, I'll say even Pete Hegseth is more respectful while under oath in Congress than Scott Besson is super, super gross. I do not like him. I think I'm just going to go in order and show you some clips that I wanted to show you before we get into the congressional clips, because I think they're important. Speaking about war in the Middle East, I wanted to, this is something the Tennessee Holler, I love that account, posted this morning. It's about immigration, but I'm bringing it up because of this developing war in the Middle East. Like, we were just in Afghanistan. Remember, we wasted like $50 million on hearings about Afghanistan where we would only talk about not the decades we were there, but like, just the withdrawal that Trump negotiated and saddled Biden with. And then they would discuss that over and over. And now, just understand that we promised a bunch of Afghans that if they helped us, if they fought with us, if they were interpreters for us, if they did us favors, that we would help them, that we would protect them from a tyrannical government that if they were caught, when the Taliban gained control again, would unalive them. So I think it's super important. This video is posted this morning. Trigger warning, this is not great, but ICE did not have a warrant for this man. They did not know his name even. ICE is now, and we know that ICE is waiting in hallways outside of immigration court hearings, asylum hearings, to just nab people. But, from the videos I've seen previously, the difference to this is that they have a warrant that says the person's name on it. This is a man who worked as an interpreter, I think, for like 3+ years. He was told, if you work with the American military, we're going to protect you. Thank you guys so much for the gifts. I appreciate it so much. We'll help you. We'll give you asylum. We're now viciously deporting these people. And yeah, I just can't believe this is the reality. But again, just a little bit of a trigger warning because this is not easy to watch.
What's your name? What's your name?
You don't have his name. You're not entitled to his name.
Go. We'll go. We'll ID him.
I worked with the U.S. military back in my home country. Okay. I have all the documents. I didn't have a credible fear interview. I worked with the U.S. military. I was interpreter. I worked with the U.S. military.
Do you have a warrant for his arrest?
Yes, we do.
Don't ever help the U.S. military if you have melanin, if you're brown, if from as brown as I am to any darker, do not help the U.S. military. Do not listen when they say, if you fight with us or if you support us, we're going to give you asylum or we'll protect your family. Don't believe it. Because every single person that agreed to help the U.S. military, we're now trying to deport. So just make sure when Trump drags us into World War III so he can become a United States dictator, that if you have melanin, when they tell you, oh, interpret for us or help us, do whatever, don't trust them. I wouldn't. We're a joke now. Trump has made it because Trump's word is as good as nothing. Truly. And now that's our country. No one can believe a word we say. If you have any amount of melanin and the US military says they're going to protect you if you help them, I would never listen because this is who we are now.
Provide the warrant. Provide the warrant. I work with the U.S. military. Just tell to them.
You can come with us, sir. You can
Provide the warrant.
You can come with us.
You don't have a warrant. I work with the U.S. military back in my home country, Afghanistan. See, this is my situation.
Can I see his warrant? Yes, I'll show it to you in the elevator.
Or you can show it now and make sure it's the right person. Because I've seen you cuff the wrong people.
Did you back up, please?
Pretty embarrassing.
But I say like more than 3 years I worked with the U.S. military back in my home country. But I came here
Back up.
Thank you for your service.
to make a bit of life. I didn't know that it's going to happen like this for me. I never thought about this. I have all the evidence that I worked with the U.S. military with everything. I was interpreter. I was in a very dangerous part of Afghanistan with the U.S. military. Right.
So where's the phone? Neighbors stand with you. Okay.
You don't have their name. You don't have a warrant.
My client was just detained by ICE after his master calendar hearing. The judge did not grant the motion to dismiss. She has set my client's case for a merits hearing.
Again, I want to explain to you what that means. So this is that man's lawyer that was just snatched. Again, they did not have a warrant. They didn't know his name. They had no warrant with his name on it. And what usually happens, and either way, it's shameful to do any of this, right? They're waiting for people who are here lawfully and legally to go to their next asylum court hearing, the proceedings. And normally what is happening in these cases, which is still unconscionable and wrong, is the judge dismisses the case, then they nab the person and mark them for expedited removal. This lawyer is saying the opposite. The lawyer is saying, this case wasn't dismissed. This is proceeding in federal court. He has this man fought for 3 years alongside the U.S. military in Afghanistan and was just snatched. Sorry. I just want to make sure we understand how horrible. This is not just a normal case of like, hey, they dismissed the asylum case and they had a warrant with the name. This is none of that.
Miss, she has set my client's case for a merits hearing on his asylum application. He spent 3 years in Afghanistan supporting the U.S. mission in Afghanistan. He's come here to seek asylum, and instead he's been shackled and put in a cage, and as the attorney for the government said, he's going to be put in expedited removal, and that's his reward for helping the United States of America.
Again, when Trump drags us into World War III so he can declare martial law and never leave office, if you have melanin of any kind, do not help this country. We will not follow through in what we promised you to protect you and your family and to keep you safe. This man will most likely, be mailed back to Afghanistan, will be unalived, or maybe South Sudan. Who knows? We're now doing just roulette of the horrific places that we're mailing people. So who knows where he will end up? And I don't know this man's name. It hasn't been said yet, but this is not an isolated incident. This is happening over and over and over again in America, and we are in a literal nightmare. And it's like Melanie Stansbury said, which I want to play that clip again today, when she went off yesterday in the Oversight and Accountability hearing. Like, if you have melanin, if you're an undocumented immigrant in this country, we see you, we love you, and we have unlimited amounts of empathy for the terror that you are now experiencing. Like, nobody should be treated like this. And imagine if you fought for the United States for 3 years under fear of death. And and in the past, I have these clips somewhere. Maybe I should put together a whole clip series of this. I don't know if you guys remember, like a month ago, I played a clip of it's like a US Marine. I believe he does like a podcast. He's pretty famous. He has Congress people on all the time, and he talks about how he'll get calls of Afghanis who helped the US being interpreters or in other ways who are in hiding, and they'll call their old handlers or people in the military and beg them to help them because they're trapped or terrified or they're in the US and going to be deported. And there's nothing. I mean, that's who we are now. Trump is our representative to the world. He's a guy who says whatever he feels like. 9 times out of 10, it's a lie. And he never follows through on a promise. And that's the legacy that he has put us in now. So if you are brown, do not help the U.S. military in any way, because they will not whatever they promise you. It's very clearly all a lie. I want to show. Okay, I'm just thinking of the order I want to show this in okay, so another thing that's annoying me, and it's on the same line of logic of immigrants, it's just I have so many different clips. I'm thinking about how to do it. Okay. I feel like I should show, well, actually, let me show this first clip. I want to show a clip from Florida of I think he's a police chief. It's not Broward, because I lived in Broward County, and that's super not white, right? Is it Brevard? Am I saying it right? Someone from Florida, is it Brevard County? I want to play this clip, and then I want to talk about immigrants who are picking, is it Brevard? Did I pronounce it? Okay, I was going to say, if I pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry, I don't know, but I think that's how you say it. Okay. So again, this guy, meanwhile in Florida, the sheriff of Brevard County is saying they're going to straight up unalive, I can't say the word, unalive protesters, quote, unquote, graveyard, unalive, totally normal Florida stuff.
If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired, because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop.
I think Joanna. Hey girl, hey. I invite anyone to look at the comments of this video. Even Mag is like, you're not gonna do shit, weirdo. Hey.
Hey, yeah, like
I love my picture of you. I mean, you're beautiful every day. That's a beautiful picture.
Thank you. I decided that I'm going to be outside a little bit, Black people are kind of sitting this one out figuratively, because we still working behind the scenes, because we do that. But while everyone else has their boots on the ground, we figuring out where them fans at. So I figured I'd be outside now since it's a little warmer. But yeah, that was my first thought looking at him. Sir, your fat ass is not going to run anybody down. What are you talking about?
All the comments say, like, Republicans and Democrats, like, sir, you can't even walk fast.
Let alone run somebody down. But hey, this is the America that we're in. And I do want to say, had other people listened to Black people a long time ago when they were doing this to us on a very regular basis, we wouldn't be in this problem right now. Had we listened to Kamala when she said, hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm not fear-mongering. This isn't hyperbolic. I'm just letting you know. I'm just giving you a warning. And they were like, no, we're not going to vote for this Indian lady. She's not even Black. And now look, fascism. Good job, MAGA.
Oh, wait, let me say something about what you just said. I still remember, Thank you for the star. When I one of the last like lives I did, which I'm trying to remember what. Oh yeah, it was like during like one of the like Friendly Fridays when friendlies would come up, and it was a guy who was biracial. He was half black and half white, and his comment was so it's like goes in line with what you just said. And I wish I could remember who it was. I don't think it. I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was Russ. I'm trying to remember. But anyways, he said, he was like, it's too bad Kamala's, half white. Because if Kamala Harris was half white, then she's definitely black. Do you know what I'm saying? He's like,
Right.
but because Kamala Harris is half Indian, then they're saying she's not black. He's like, if you're half black and half white, then you will never be anything but black. That like stuck with me, which is the white view. But like my father's black and black Hispanic, but like, yeah, that's the nature of being multiracial. Never white enough to be white, black enough to be black. Definitely not Hispanic enough to be Hispanic. Ask any of my cousins. You're just floating somewhere in between. I always say every multiracial or biracial person remembers the moment, especially if you're half white and half black or half white and half Hispanic. Like you remember the moment you were informed by white people that you were not white.
Yeah, and like it's insane the way that they can make that actually make sense in their brains. It's like, okay, so would she or would she not be able to drink from the fountains in the 40s? Oh, no. Well, then she's black. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, not really, but she's black. Anyway.
I get it both though. Like Joanna, look, if you ever hear me saying like I'm discriminated against like you are, like of course not. Like I sit in privilege because I am light skinned. I get that. You know what I'm saying? Because my experience will always be easier than yours, and I can recognize both. It is just like it is funny for biracial, multiracial. We are just kind of like strays looking for. We're like, hi, will you accept me? Are you my mom? Wasn't there some book about like the ugly duckling? It was like a black duck who was like looking for home. That's how I feel sometimes. But yeah, I understand both sides. I don't take any of it personally. I love when black women tell me to shut up. I think I'm probably too much. You know what I mean? Slightly.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't do that because I value everything that you say. Speaking of which, love the glasses, love the layered necklaces. Like, it's definitely giving hot professor that's cool. Love it.
Exactly what I was going for. Arrested Development hot professor / child in my head.
It's giving. Was not necessarily giving is these taps, which is why I came up here in the first place. Love y'all. Y'all haven't heard me in a bit. Life has been lifing. Me as a 37-year-old getting chicken pox at fucking 37. Listen, things have been happening. However, let's get these taps up. There are under 200 shares. I feel
There
like
is
y'all
a
can do
vaccination for that, but maybe we're just going to get rid of that one too. Yeah, guys, everyone share the live right now. Tap the screen. Thank you, Joanna. And come up more often. I miss doing this.
Yeah, I will be. It's lots of things have been happening. I may talk to y'all about it in Discord. Plus, there's my grandson who's developing super quickly.
Yeah,
and is now
you guys,
teething.
we're raising if you don't know what we're talking about, we're raising a biracial child, amazing biracial child in Arkansas. Joanna is the youngest grandmother literally, and we are going to raise a biracial child in Arkansas. So there is a Amazon wish list, gift list that her daughter updates in my bio. Whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, X, wherever, you can find it in my bio. And if you want to buy a gift for the biracial child we're raising in Arkansas, please do.
Yep, he is perfect and he will be perfect.
Truly is. I'm not just saying that. You know when people say their babies are attractive and you're like, oh God, I've got to just pretend for a second. This baby is gorgeous.
He absolutely is, and he's teething, so his gums are itchy. Now he has a lot of personality. He gets pissed off because he isn't flexible enough, really, and he not coordinated enough to grab his feet and chew them. It's like, sir, I'm sorry, but okay, here's your feet. Chew away. It's fine. Everything is fine. But everybody needs to share more. They're up to 226. I appreciate it. Can we get those up to 250? If everybody shared once, then
Still
we would
can't
be doing
figure
a
out how to
fantastic
see
job.
that number. I can't find that number still to this day. So everyone share the live. And by the way, if you don't know, like the arrow in the right bottom corner when we're asking you to share the live, push that. If you don't have anyone to share it with, just push the copy link button over and over. That counts as a share. So I know if you're like, people are going to think I'm insane and I've shared it with too many people, just push the copy link button. It counts as a share.
Push that button. Get these fingers to tapping. We're all having phenomenal conversations in this chat because we're all pissed. We're all annoyed. We all hate it here because we're smart. Well, most of us are smart. There are still a couple of idiots in the chat that I want to block and cuss out. But Felice is nice. She's a teacher. She wants you idiots to learn how to read and do math. So she'll let you stay as long as you don't annoy her or me too much. But tread the fuck lightly. That's the only F-bomb I'm going to drop because we don't want to lose the monetization on YouTube, and because TikTok plays around sometimes. We do love the TikTok shop though. Yay, TikTok shop. Speaking of YouTube, if you aren't subscribed on YouTube, get over there. You can catch the replays. And if you miss something, you can go back and watch that. And you can just rewatch it because we love all the phenomenal facts and all the receipts because we do have the best receipts and the best people.
By the way, what is your grandson's name? I
to...
forgot for a second, and I know I'm gonna remember, but I just feel like we've never said his name right now.
His name is Zaire.
That's what I'm. Okay, I was good. I swear to God, I was gonna say that, but I was like, if I named the wrong country, people are gonna punch me in the face. I swear to God, that's what I thought. I was just like, I'm not gonna get it wrong publicly. Okay, Zaire, it's such a beautiful name.
It is Zaire. Thank you. And you need to reset that gift goal. So before we hop back into things, I'll stay up here until we get that done. And everybody else, while she's doing that, shout out to the 401 shares. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. We could have been doing that all along. I guess sometimes y'all just need for me to come up here and give y'all a little razzle dazzle. And I love
to be told what to do. It's my favorite thing. So come back whenever you feel like it. And I don't know. This might be a good time to announce, by the way. I think if all goes according to plan, my family probably doesn't want to hang out with me this weekend for my birthday, which is Monday. So I think Fax and I are talking about it, and we might, I think you guys might be interested in this. We might debate on Saturday. Like, that's what we're thinking of to, start doing some debates, which I need to talk to you about, Joanna, because I really need your help, like not letting any crazy people out. But yeah, I think on Saturday, your birthday's Wednesday. Shout out to all the Geminis who are using their powers for good. Dustin's a Gemini. His birthday's on the 15th. By saying my birthday's Monday, I've met a lot of other Geminis. Yay! Yay, Geminis, except you, Trump. But he is throwing us a parade.
Yeah, shout out to all the Gemini people, except a few. I dated one, hated him. Our president,
don't date us. Don't date us. I'm single because that's how you know I'm a good person.
Yeah, all of that. And we're up to 100. Good job for the 151 likes. Keep those fingers tapping while we're all down here yapping. Now, we're going to get back to the show since all the goals are fully reset. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'm not really sure what it is that you're doing because you should be. We're trying to get back up to the 500 we had before, the little blackout we had with TikTok earlier in the year. So, subscribe, become a friend. It's great over here. You see all the knowledge that you get. Everyone loves it here. And I cuss people out in the comments. So, subscribe and come have fun with us. Become a friend and keep those taps up. If you don't, I'll come back up here. I might even pull a funny since it's Friday and cut the comments off for a little bit if y'all don't keep it up. So, let's get it together. Love y'all.
Do you find anyone that wants to debate it that's being super rude and wants to talk? I do feel like yelling at someone, so let them on up. I am feeling it today. I feel like people need to be yelled at. So you do you, Joanna. Thank you so much. Joanna's an elected official in the state of Arkansas, and she's absolutely brilliant. If you are not following Joanna, do follow her. I promise you. Like, I mean, the best thing about TikTok is all of you. And like I say, like I never knew what chosen family was until truly meeting you all and Joanna and Chrissy and Cootery, and it's been the pleasure of my life to meet you all. Sarah, thank you so much. Oh, I want to make Sarah from Saskatchewan. Thank you for subscribing. Jay, thank you for subscribing. Where you can see the sub goal. We're perpetually trying to get back to 500 subs. If I don't think I said this yet, that yellow star in the bottom left-hand corner is how you subscribe, and you can subscribe for other people. You can just say like, hey, spend a couple dollars and buy a few subs like for the month for others. And if you do get a sub, make sure to thank whoever sends it to you. Okay, but let's get back to, oh yes, this is what I wanted to, this is it. Okay. This is very important. So this is just a local news video in Florida. Wait, I wanted to finish saying one thing about this. People were asking where this is Brevard County in Florida. This guy is basically, threatening to unalive protesters or put them in jail or whatever. And then we all know the No Kings protests going on across the nation are expected to be huge on Saturday. Make sure you take care of yourself. My number one advice for my protest days, make sure that your phone cannot be opened with your face or a thumbprint. Make sure do not let them have access to your phone. Any phone numbers you need, I always say write them on your arm, but actually maybe even somewhere else they can't see them might even be better. But make sure that you have any phone numbers you need not on your phone, and do not let them access your phone. That is the most important thing. Like, don't let them access your phone, and have the numbers you need ready. And I wish I could remember, because when I was debating with Pickles on Wednesday, Dr. Jace was giving some really good advice about how to combat like tear gas and things, but I can't remember the quantities and the things he said, but it was brilliant. Okay, so I want to show you another local video from Florida, because this is really what I want to talk about. The other interesting thing that's happened this week is all of a sudden, and I'll say this, Trump has gotten calls from his rich friends saying, hey, your immigration strategy is going to bankrupt us all. You need to stop. All right. So I just want to show this video before we get into Trump now trying to pivot and be like, oh, we need to save our farmers. Trump has ruined farmers' lives time and time again with targeted tariffs, with his immigration policy. He ruins things. And now all of a sudden this week, he's like, oh, the farmers are having a tough time. When we have a famine, remember, it's Trump. We are letting harvests rot in the field because undocumented laborers are terrified to show up to work because, I think I have this in screenshots. I found written proof. Immigration is showing up to fields of crops to try and arrest people now.
With tariff talks top of mind, South Florida farmers say they're in trouble. Crops are rotting on the vine, and they're blaming the ongoing trade wars and immigration changes.
What does this mean for the future of our food? The Night Team's Heather Walker has a look at tonight's 7 Investigates.
Perfectly good tomatoes are being plowed over instead of picked. It's a sad scene happening in South Florida.
You can't even afford to pick them right now between the cost of the labor and the inputs that go in. It's more cost effective for the farmers to just plow them right now.
Heather Moling understands the struggles that farmers are facing right now. She's part of the family that runs the Homestead produce stand. Robert is here.
These are local tomatoes here.
She says farmers used to get $16 for a box of tomatoes. It's now down to $3 or $4.
Just a horrible price. Some of that has been from what Mexico's bringing into the country. And some of that has been just with the threat of the tariffs.
Farmers say President Trump's tariffs and the threat of tariffs have caused thousands of acres of tomatoes to go to waste because the cost to pack.
I don't understand, MAGA. Why aren't you guys in these fields in Florida? It's super weird. You guys need to get in these fields. This is your dream, not ours, MAGA. Get in these fields and pick the food. I'm so confused where you all are at. You guys are, and believe me, I've done the research. You're all not college educated. This is where you guys should be at. You said a job is a job. That's what you guys said. You said that immigrants were taking our jobs. So you guys need to get in these fields and pick the damn fruit and vegetables. You wanted this. Where are you at? I don't understand why you guys aren't picking all the fruit in the fields. Get in there and get our food.
Pick them is more than what tomatoes are selling for this year.
It costs you, close to, probably over $10 a box, close to $11 a box to break even. So if you're selling tomatoes for $3 and $4 and $5, you can just figure out pretty quickly what the losses are.
Tony Damari with Damari Homestead says his company has experienced huge losses. He won't disclose how much, but says South Florida farmers are hurting.
The Mexican industry exported, in some cases, double and triple the daily volumes as to beat being subject to the 25% tariff in February and March and the 10% tariff in April. That just devastated our markets in the U.S.
Those tariffs never went into effect, but the damage was done. When Mexico flooded the market with cheap tomatoes, local farmers couldn't compete and didn't even bother picking their fields.
So you're telling me, in case you're like, what does that mean? You're telling me that Trump just lied about tariffs to drive the market down so a bunch of capitalists with excess capital could buy low, wait for him to go back on his words, which Trump always chickens out. As we know, it's our most favorite trade strategy in the markets. So then a huge transfer of wealth could go to the top of the economy. And in addition to that huge transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich, farmers, American farmers were being put out of business because Mexico flooded the U.S. market with supply and basically priced everyone else out of the market. Interesting. Trump has, and this is the point, and let me just say this out loud. If there is puzzle piece, give me 1 second because I can't see you guys. Get puzzle piece. Let me just say this. If there's a farmer in here that wants to tell me why they support Trump, I've played videos of the F around and find out videos where farmers are like, I still love Trump, but he's ruining my life. Like it makes me, I should find there's an Arizona farmer, like a local, I played it like 2 months ago. Literally what this video is describing happened to this man. He's like, I still love Trump, but I'm going to lose my farm. It's like, cool. Trump has sold out farmers relentlessly in America over and over and over, starting with those targeted tariffs in his first term. He has never stopped bending you all over and effing you. If you are still voting for Donald Trump and you have anything to do with agriculture, you've lost your mind.
Now the U.S. government has plans to put an anti-dumping duty on fresh Mexican tomatoes starting in July to try and prevent that from happening again. And it's not just tomatoes from Mexico that's hurting our farmers. South Florida sends a lot of different produce to Canada, which put a 25% tariff on our crops.
Another watermelon grower in the state had called me about concern and question on the tariff. His customers in Canada, which Canada for the Florida watermelon growers in the springtime is a big market, had told him that they, because of the tariff and the added cost to Florida watermelons, they were in fact wanting to bypass sourcing Florida watermelons for this spring as long as the 25% tariff was in place. In fact, they were going to source their watermelon needs from Mexico.
Immigration changes are also taking a toll. Many pickers are afraid to go to work.
Many workers have left. Others are leaving now.
This man agreed to talk to us if we agreed to hide his identity.
MAGA, get in the fields. I don't understand. MAGA, this is what you said. You said brown people were taking your jobs. You need to report to any field immediately. This is your dream. You wanted the brown people to leave. Now, so we all have food. Everyone that voted for Trump in Florida, you need to report to a field. That talking to you, MAGA non-college graduates, report to the nearest field immediately.
To work.
Many workers have left. Others are leaving now.
This man agreed to talk to us if we agreed to hide his identity. He's worried about being deported.
A lot of people are really afraid, and sometimes they come, sometimes they don't come, and the harvest is lost because it cannot be harvested. So that's why so much produce is lost.
What's the feeling from farmers right now? Like, how are you feeling?
Thank you, Sue. Sue did it. By the way, if anyone needs an accountant, Sue did it. Follow her. She's the best accountant I know. She has the most beautiful brain and the most beautiful heart. Everyone follow Sue did it right now. She's an absolute angel. She said, or send your kids so they can learn a trade. Exactly. We are trying to get the kids back in the mines and fields and factories. So also, MAGA, if you're too lazy, which of course you are, you're not going anywhere. Dude, just send your kids with their tiny little hands. They'll get around the thorns easier. Just drop them off at the nearest field, and collect their paycheck and use it on yourself. That'll be fine. Yeah, we are really trying to bring child labor back in the South. So yes, either you report to the nearest field, MAGA, because this is what you wanted. Brown people were taking your jobs. This is why you voted for Trump. I'm just confused why there is not a line of MAGA ready to get into the fields. I'm like, this is your dream, not ours, MAGA. Trump told all you, what did you guys call yourselves again? Latinos for Trump? Latinos for Trump. So many of you follow me and keep harassing Latinos for Trump. Get in those fields. This is you. Trump said undocumented immigrants were stealing jobs from brown and black people. Where's the black people for Trump? Get it. Report to a field. You need to be outside of a Home Depot waiting to be picked up. I'm super Muslims for Trump, particularly in Pennsylvania. You guys change your name of your nonprofit because you're suddenly really upset with what Trump ended up doing. Muslims for Trump, what? You guys go to the fields too. You're brown. You've got the melanin to survive. Where is the line of MAGA or your kids? You can also send your kids. You can, child labor is fine now. So either you get in the fields and or your children. That's the answer, or we're going into a famine. And also, just something else occurred to me. We also need to come up with 2 billion plus gallons of fresh water in California. So if you're not going to get into the field, maybe you can get to working on desalinating ocean water to make up for the 2 billion gallons of fresh water that was needed to water the crops in the Central Valley of California that Trump wasted because he is inept and incompetent. So we also do need some of you or your children to somehow desalinate 2 billion gallons of water to water the crops. So yeah, like however you guys divide yourselves up, it doesn't matter. Latinos for Trump, blacks for Trump, Muslims for Trump. Just, you guys need to report to the fields and your kids, but probably 2 kids to every 1 adult. That seems fair. Their hands are tiny. I don't think they're going to get as much done. So make sure you send them with a water bottle. It's kind of mean. But this is what you got. Aren't you guys Are you guys happy? Isn't this what you guys said? You said immigrants were taking your jobs and have your money. So it's super weird that you guys aren't in the fields now. Okay, I gotta mute, let me just pull it. I gotta go to the end of the presentation. We're gonna keep talking. I just need to, I screenshotted a bunch of information about this and I want to make sure I don't make it up and I get it right. Yep, here we go. Wait, I know I also have, I want to show Trump's post on Truth Social. I have it somewhere before I show you the other stuff that's super damning. I thought I had his post somewhere. I know I have his post. I know it. I can feel it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is Trump basically like on Tuesday or whatever, all of a sudden, like I said, the rich people that own in agriculture called him and are like, hey, you've taken all of our slave laborers. Which I don't support slave labor. I think capitalism is disgusting. I think everyone should be paid a living wage. But I'm talking to MAGA. You guys love slave labor. You guys love capitalism. You love being bent over and violated. So since this is your dream, this is my nightmare, you guys need to you should be happy and you should be in the fields picking the harvest. This is our great farmers. And remember, this is the guy that's been like, Stephen Miller's been telling people, go anywhere you need to go. I forget if they had committed crimes, if they entered legally, you need to just find people at 7-Elevens, at Home Depots, in the fields. This is what Stephen Miller has said for the last 2 weeks. And then Trump posted this, the date's not on here, but it was pretty much on like Tuesday or Wednesday. Our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been, so again, now we're talking about, remember, he ran on brown people are stealing American, Mexicans, and black people's jobs, which that's when I knew that we were effed. Like, if you have melanin and you don't understand that when Trump is screaming at you, hey, brown and black American citizens, you guys should be cleaning hotel rooms and picking crops or working in meat packing plants. That is what he was saying to you. Latinos for Trump, blacks for Trump, Muslims, that's what he was telling you. He was like, isn't that so rude of undocumented immigrants to take your guys' jobs? He believes nobody with melanin is better than doing slave labor. That was literally what he screamed for months during his campaign. And you guys were like, yeah, and get my kids back in the factories too. It is the funniest I've ever. I can't understand why none of you guys are in the fields. You guys agreed that you were going to get in the fields because the slave laborers were taking your jobs. Like, I graduate. I do have the melanin, but I did graduate college and I didn't vote for Trump, so I don't believe I should have to go get in the fields. My dad, just to be clear, was a migrant worker. On the migrant, if you know anything about migrant workers, there's a literal circuit they follow. It goes like from Arizona, New Mexico, Arizona, up California, back through Idaho, depending on the season. My dad was on the migrant worker circuit, picked strawberries, watermelon, you name it. My dad has picked it, but I'm not going to be doing it because I am smart enough to understand what Trump was saying was super racist and bigoted. But since you all voted for him, all the Hispanics, all the black people, all of the Muslims who voted for Trump, you guys need to hustle on into the fields. So again, rich people who are in agriculture and hospitality very clearly called Trump, which, by the way, Trump has been sanctioned many times for hiring undocumented workers. His businesses have been built on slave labor, built on it. Our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good, long-time workers, that's slave laborers who are being tormented, away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. MAGA, why are they impossible to replace? Why aren't you guys getting in the fields and the hotel rooms and working for nothing? I'm so confused. It's super weird why you guys aren't there. In many cases, the criminals, now he's referring to just brown people as criminals, allowed into our country by the very stupid Biden. This is, I mean, anyways, open borders policy, are applying for those jobs. What? No, they're not. And just to be clear, you don't apply for undocumented labor. This, like, can you imagine? This is, when I first read this, I was like, this is just like when, remember Trump? And a lady came to me with tears in her eyes. Or no, wait, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. And she's like, and the lady with tears in her eyes told the grocery store worker, I'm going to have to take my apples back to the apple freezer. Like, this man has no idea how anything works. He thinks apples are like in a refrigerator in the grocery store. And this is the same thing. He thinks undocumented people apply for jobs. Like, this is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. You could tell he's figured it out now. People are like, hey, I'm going to throw all of my money behind getting you gone if you don't do something. So now he's pretending to care. But don't worry, we've got all these children with tiny hands, so we can get them in the fields. It'll be fine. This is why in the South, like Sarah Huckabee Sanders and other governors are rolling back child labor laws. It's because if Trump followed through on mass deportation, which how many times have I run statistical analyses on this live, literally live, and showed how our economy will crash. Not just from the cost, which, by the way, from the cost of mass deportation alone, what is happening now, we will go into a recession. But the loss of labor, the hole in our economy, I mean, don't worry. We will get some children down in those mines and back in the meat packing plants. We'll get them in the fields, but it will never be enough because hopefully enough people in America love their kids enough to not shove them into the fields. Like, there's so many great, and I'll say this again because you guys know how I love this. If you can't believe a think tank, there's data sets. When someone's taking data, this is my number one problem with MAGA. It's like you hear someone telling you something like Biden recovered the best in the G7 from the pandemic. And what you're like, no, we didn't. That couldn't be possible. And instead of looking at an analysis of data, you just look at random data things and you look at data points and compare them to like another data point and you think you're doing something. No, you have to analyze data sets, right? Data tells a story. So I would say, MAGA, you can even do this. You can put data into certain apps and analyze it, and it will tell you a story. It's not going to be the one you want to hear, but you should look into it because I could point you in the direction. I've given out so many different, very interesting data analysis around this subject. If we proceed with mass deportation, we will go bankrupt. We will no longer have the largest gross domestic product. You guys are like, we're number one. You're not number one in anything. The 0.1% is number one, right? I love how MAGA thinks having the number one gross domestic product makes them number one. None of us get anything from the rich getting richer. You first should recognize that. I know you don't. But you should start. You should give it a shot. Oh, and thank you. Who sent that? Lush, and I hate it. My favorite. I wish I could steal your TikTok name. Thank you for the giveaway sub. And I just remembered, I think I forgot to say Andy in Wonderland, another fabulous name. Thank you for the giveaway sub to Juju. I feel like I forgot some more. I'm glad someone subscribed because it made me remember I didn't thank people. Hold on. Oh no, it's happening. It's sometimes hard for me to tell. I'm going to figure this out. And okay. Got to Andy. Cubs are my life. That's a tough life. Tough life. 5 giveaway subs. Cubs are my life. I could tell you some great stories about I dated a professional baseball player who played for the Cubs. That's another life. Sometime I should tell you all the famous people I dated. You guys would be like, what the? Sarah Sarah resubscribed. I said, thank you, Sarah from Saskatchewan. Thank you so much. I just want to make sure I never want to miss anyone. I'm very big on that. I want you to know how much I appreciate the support. Miller, happy early birthday. Thank you for the $25 on Cash App. And I'm not going to say where your acres of land are, but one day if I need to, I'll be disappearing into them. So just keep a space for me, and I'm so into van life. Or maybe Fax and I should have our camp off there. That would be great. Fax Still Matter and I are having a camp off. We're challenging people to go into the woods, and the only rules are someone can't come back alive. In September, we're having a camp off. If you're interested, let us know. It's just someone won't be making it out of the woods. So if you're into that sort of thing, just sign up. Just let us know. Send Fax a message and say you're interested in the camp off. Wait, this is really weird. Oh, never mind. I can see it at the top because I can't see the image. Nicole, thank you for the $25 on Venmo. It said literally no one gave you $25. But then I realized I could see it. Julie, wait, did I say this? No, I think I've heard this one. Julie, thank you so much for the $5. Said, happy birthday. I wish it could be more. You deserve more. I'm on SSDI, or I would send you hundreds of dollars. I love you. I love you too. You're amazing. I wish, just tap the screen too. Like, I just love being around you guys and supporting me. Never, you don't need to apologize. You guys always yell at me to stop apologizing. Don't apologize to me. I'm trying to learn to not apologize. Julie, thank you for the $20 on Cash App. I like the way you spell your name. Oh, from Grandma. Grandma, thank you. I see your full name. Beautiful name. Thank you guys so much. I think I got it all. I just don't want to, I'm never trying to leave anyone out. Like, you don't understand how thankful I am for the support. It just means the world. This is the first job I didn't want to die doing. So, again, I just want to review. So now this week, Trump was finally called up by rich people. He doesn't give a about anyone else, nor can he read or do math to understand. Just understand, while Trump was campaigning on the mass deportation, think tanks, far-right think tanks, were doing analyses and proving that would send us into a recession. We've known. If you don't know, just Google it. Just say statistical analysis on the impacts of mass deportation on the U.S. economy. Study after study, you'll have access to data sets. If you want to use the data on your own, put it into AI. You might have to pay. That's a large set of data, so you might have to pay. But if you don't believe the math of a think tank, you can fact check it yourself. That's what I do. Now, I love Mike Singleton. If you are on X, or actually he's on Blue Sky and everywhere else, so you can follow him anywhere. He's a great person to follow. But he said now he admits his very aggressive policy on immigration is backfiring, just like the tariffs. It's boneheaded policy that he didn't think through. The incompetence of this president is breathtaking. It has been screw up after screw up, and it's happening right in front of your eyes. And you know what? this is one interpretation, and I do think Trump's an idiot, but I actually think that so much of Project 2025, the mass deportation, it's not so much a screw up as it is meant to terrorize, to put people in fear, to paralyze people, to put you in a state of like, I don't know. It's supposed to have a chilling effect, right? Like this is part of an authoritarian takeover, right? He's just using mustache man playbook. Like MAGA thinks Trump's some sort of like visionary. He didn't even come up with Make America Great Again. He just stole that from them too. And that's how I know MAGA can't read. That's how I know for sure. Because if MAGA could read, they'd be like, hey, I've heard every word of this somewhere before. Where was it? This all sounds super familiar. It's because Trump literally is like copying, pasting mustache man stuff. And then you guys are like, wow, how smart is Trump? This really makes sense. No, none of it makes sense. And it's going to drive us into a recession. Okay, so now I want to show you. You guys know I love Ron Filipkowski. He's the what is he? Is he like the editor-in-chief of Midas Touch? I don't even know if that's what he is, but he used to just be, he was a lawyer, a Marine, and a political strategist for the Republican Party. And that's when I started following him. And then he became a never Trumper. Now he works for Midas Touch and is absolutely brilliant. But I want to show you because he kind of does what I do, and that's why he follows like only Republican monsters on X, and then kind of puts together this amazing newsletter like 4 or 5 times a week of like an aggregate of like, if you're wondering what happened today, here's the shit show, and it's brilliant. I think he's up to like hundreds of thousands of people reading it a day. Okay, so I just want to say that because I want to not act like I wrote this. It looks like Taco Trump got some panicked phone calls from his rich Republican friends who own businesses that employ migrant workers. He posted, quote, I've already read it, but our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure businesses have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good long-time workers away from them, with whose jobs being almost impossible to replace. Yeah, it's because not many people, it turns out even MAGA don't want to be slave laborers in fields, hotels, mines, and factories. It's the weirdest thing. And with those jobs being almost impossible to replace, in many cases, the criminals allowed into, I'm not reading that again, but you get my point. It's the post I read you. So it will be interesting to watch this play out. The MAGA activists. Now remember, there's this huge division that Trump kind of walks this fine line between. There's the Laura Loomers, the Stephen Millers, who are very much like bigots who can't do math and don't care that much about capitalism. And then there's the billionaires, the technocrats, the corporations, the rich agriculturalists that want to make money, right, in capitalism and exploit slave labor, right? And the other MAGA people like Steve Bannon, they want to deport brown people because they're white nationalist weirdos. It will be interesting to watch this play out. The MAGA activists want everyone deported. Stephen Miller in the White House, Tom Homan at ICE, and people like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk on their podcast want them all out immediately. But many of Trump's biggest donors can't run their businesses without migrant labor. Now the rubber is meeting the road on that. Beautifully put. Reuters. Quote, this is a quote from a Reuters article. Glen Valley Foods was operating an Omaha, Nebraska facility with 30% of its staff on Wednesday after federal agents detained workers in an immigration raid. They only had 30% of their staff after federal agents detained workers in an immigration raid the previous day, slashing the output of products it sells to grocery stores and restaurants. Livestock traders and market analysts expressed concerns that the potential deportation of undocumented workers could disrupt U.S. food production at a time when beef prices, if you've looked at beef prices, Jesus Christ, beef prices have soared and meat processors report a shortage in labor. This is another quote. ICE agents detained 74 to 76 workers out of roughly 140. So there were 140 workers at Glen Valley Foods. 74 to 76 are gone. I wish I could remember which congressperson was doing this, and I didn't record it. It came up in my algorithm. But there was a congressperson pointing out that actually sanctuary cities have a very low rate of employing undocumented workers, right? Like it's lower than, like, look at Arkansas. There are places that Trump isn't rating as heavily, like the red states, who are actively recruiting. I can't remember. They were showing ads in Mexico that companies in Arkansas, and I think, I don't want to get it wrong. Don't quote me on the second one. It might be Louisiana. They're actually running ads to recruit people to sneak over and say, like, hey, you have a job here. But weirdly, those places aren't being rated. But this is Nebraska where one was. So they had 140 workers, 74 to 76 are gone. The facility's production dropped to about 20% of normal. Glen Valley Foods sells steak, chicken, and corned beef products to restaurants and grocery stores. Retail beef prices have set records as the size of the U.S. cattle herd has declined to its lowest level in 70 years after a years-long drought raised feed costs. Trump selling it. Trump loves the farmers, though. KBC, quote, ICE targeted workers on produce farms in Ventura County. Farm workers said the ICE agents arrived. So remember, Trump's now saying, we need to protect the slave laborers in the fields. ICE agents arrived at an Oxnard farm at around 6 a.m. Video posted online showed ICE agents chasing after some workers as they fled the fields. We now have ICE chasing people who are trying to basically pick our food for like $5 a day, if that. I don't even know if they're getting $5. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's somewhere in there. It's in some instances, it might be lower. Video posted on, chasing. Workers said they had anxiety about going to work because they feared ICE would show up while they worked. What I fear is that sometimes out of necessity, it forces us to show up wherever there's work because of everything that is happening. It is a bit difficult for us, end quote. So when there's a food shortage, just remember the 2 billion gallons of water Trump wasted and all this. Oxnard Mayor Lewis MacArthur. We have received reports of ICE agents attempting to enter agricultural fields in our city and also stopping vehicles. These actions are completely unjustified and harmful. They create chaos and distress in our community without contributing much to public safety. Can you imagine? I could go into 100 things. New York Times, Reverend Tanya Lopez, remember I played you that clip of this white lady and her husband who are pastors of like a mega church in Texas? And they were like, good Latino Christians are being arrested. We need to do something. Yeah, tell that to Trump and Stephen Miller. She's the senior pastor of Downey Memorial Christian Church, says she was in her office on Wednesday when 3 SUVs with tinted windows pulled up to her church. Then 5 men wearing badges and tan bulletproof vests that said police rushed out of the vehicles and detained a man in the parking lot. The men refused to identify which agency they worked for, shocking, and they did not share their names or badge numbers when asked. Their vehicles had out-of-state license plates. They also did not provide a warrant. This is not a MAGA. I know your brains don't work. This is a violation of the Constitution. All of these things. Do you know how many times when I debate online, MAGA's like, how has Trump violated the Constitution? Let me tell you something, MAGA. If you fix your lips to say that out loud, then you're an idiot. It is a shorter list for me to list how he has not violated the Constitution than how he has. You have a supercomputer in your pocket. You can figure it out. I promise. Get to work. The men refused to identify which agency they work for. They did not share their names or badge numbers when asked. They had out-of-state license plates. They also did not provide a warrant. They took the man into a black SUV. Lopez said that as she shouted instructions to the man inside, or in Spanish to the man inside the vehicle, an agent drew a rifle at her. This is America. Great job. This is America. Almost to 300K. Thank you guys so much. I know it's Friday and you're like, I don't feel like tapping. Just think about Trump and tap that screen. We're now drawing rifles on church properties. Remember when those used to be sanctuaries, and pointing them at pastors who are asking agents what the F they're doing. Reverend Al Lopez, another pastor at the church, said that he told the men he didn't want them on the church's property. They did not have a warrant. If you don't have a warrant, you can't be on private property, period. What we are now seeing are just random kidnappings by the American Gestapo. That is what is happening. There is no legal justification to enter private property, and when told you can't be there, point a rifle at someone and kidnap a human being. MAGA, this is who you are now. And the best part is, though, and I know it's not, because, like, I don't want to pretend like I'm not heartbroken by this. You guys know I am. But it's hilarious to me that our economy, we're going into a recession because MAGA can't read, do math, and are bigots. And I'll just say, the only way that I can see if MAGA won't change their idiot line of logic, then MAGA, you need to get in the fields and bring your kids. That's the only answer. At this point, you guys can be the slaves. You said they were taking your jobs. Get in the fields and do the work. Get in the factories. Get in the meat packing plants. Get in the mines. Listen to this. He said, Reverend Al Lopez told the men he didn't want them on his church's property. Quote, "This will stand in my mind. This gentleman just shouted, quote, the whole country is our property." Can you, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is how stupid, like abject, absolute stupidity. It's like, but I believe that they believe that. Yep, thank you. This is an actual video you can look up. And I would say you can look up the quote and it will come up. City Council member Mary Trujillo, these raids at Home Depots, restaurants, places of worship, or schools are not keeping our communities safe. They are creating havoc and fear. Heavy-handed ICE enforcement could cause serious issues for spectators and fans from around the world. If you come here for the World Cup, you've lost your damn mind. If you have any melanin in you and you attempt to enter this country, you've lost your mind. And I don't want to go into recession. I understand this is how not smart MAGA is. Their brains do not work. Do you know how much money we generate in tourism a year? Why would anyone come here? Now, MAGA, this is a learning opportunity. I want you to really just activate your brain. Just really think about this. I have heard, when Pickles and I were debating, I had to hear at least 15 people scream, due process is only for American citizens. You have to know that the Constitution says the opposite, right? It's for all persons on U.S. soil. Let me give you an example. If you've never been to Florida, have you ever wondered why the Coast Guard has huge poles, literal, like poles that are wooden, long sticks, and they're just like poking rafts of Cubans back? That I'm not laughing at this. It's not funny, but this is real. If you can look up videos of it. Do you ever wonder why the Coast Guard just has sticks and they're just poking rafts of dehydrated, starving Cubans back into international waters? Have you never wondered why? If your idiot logic that due process is only for American citizens, why would they be desperate to not let undocumented people touch U.S. soil? You can answer, think about it. The answer is your brain doesn't work. That's why. And think about it. Why would anyone ever come on vacation here if they didn't have due process? Why would someone spend thousands of dollars? And I know, MAGA, I was reading a study of how few of you have ever traveled or left the country. Most of you don't even have passports. So you don't understand any of this. And I think that's highly likely. It is much easier. It won't be soon. So if you ever decide to leave the country, it's about to be much harder now. But the US passport used to be like the gold standard, right? No, it didn't. Not really. I always told the story about how when I disappeared into South America, I pretended to be Canadian because everyone loves a Canadian. If you show people your US passport, way to lose. That's a really fast way to lose friends in the rest of the world. People don't like Americans. But when I say the US passport is the gold standard, it's because we could enter the most countries, almost all of them except for a few, without having to apply for a travel visa beforehand. Travel visas cost money. You have to go through this extensive application process and background check. And we can avoid all of that. They just hand you like on the plane a customs form and you just kind of sign your name and that's good. We can just pretty much go wherever we want. It is not the same coming into the United States. And I've had a lot of conversations and I realize Americans don't know this. From the majority, you can't just come here. You can't just buy a plane ticket to America. You've got to apply for travel visas, explain who you are, like go through background checks. All of this costs extreme amounts of money. And by MAGA's logic, these people who get accepted to come here just to take their kid to Disney World, which sucks anyways, don't get due process. Think about it. You know what happens when countries deny all persons, not citizens of their country, due process? Travel warnings are issued, which is now what's happening for the US. This is why we're going to lose billions of dollars of revenue from tourism, because now other countries are saying, America's not a democracy anymore. They're not honoring due process. If you go there, you may not come back. You may be disappeared. And even if you contact our embassy there, we might not be able to get you back. Do not go there because we don't have a working relationship with that government. And if something happens to you, if you just try to enter and they just disappear you and stop giving you food or water, we probably can't do shit about it. This has happened too. And I love how MAGA, because I had someone say, the first person, Pickles, and again, this is posted on YouTube if you don't believe me. This guy was an immigrant from Poland. He came here in 1984. The first person, we didn't get to talk. He just screamed at us. And he said, yeah, people can come here from the good countries. And when we finally got him to say what are good countries, turns out those are just white countries white people come from. But again, look up how many Germans have been disappeared who came here with a work visa even. Just were trying to come. One that sticks out of my mind was a pretty famous tattoo artist. Like she had a huge following online. She was coming for a tattoo convention, tried to enter California and was trapped with no food or water for a month in custody. And the German embassy was fighting to get this person out of custody and couldn't. That is normally everyone gets due process. Now we are a country like Russia. That's why Remember when you got, oh, this is a great learning opportunity, MAGA. This is now you can get an idea. Remember when you said, who gives a about Brittany Griner? She shouldn't been going on vacation in Russia. You deserve to be disappeared, right? Well, actually, Brittany Griner wasn't on vacation. Brittany Griner is one of the best athletes of all time, and she has to supplement her income. There's no off season from the WNBA because they don't make shit. So then she's, and this is the most ironic thing because they don't really have a great view of women in Eastern Europe. But I know this as a Division I athlete. I just didn't know. I almost went to Eastern Europe to play volleyball. They made me an offer. The highest paid women's athletes in not just in basketball and volleyball, all of that, Eastern Europe, very weird. They don't respect women at all, but for some reason they enjoy watching women's sports. Super weird. They pay people well. So when like the WNBA season ends or when you're done playing volleyball in college, you go to Eastern Europe. That's why Brittany Griner was there. But that's why there's travel warnings for Russia, because they don't acknowledge due process for all persons. What do? They get a hold of an American and they kidnap them and they use them for leverage. They use them as a negotiation tactic. That is now how other civilized countries speak about America. I saw someone saying that Las Vegas, Nevada is now getting 30% less revenue. Not surprised. Look into Florida. I think this is the funniest because they were all like, everything's going to be great when we back Trump and he's going to help us. Do you know that how many Canadians winter in Florida and they're not anymore? Florida's economy is devastated by agriculture, by tourism. And that's because MAGA, read the Constitution. Due process is for all citizens who are on U.S. soil. That's why we poke the rafts back into the sea, because if they make it to land, they're entitled to due process. And even better with Cubans. The reasons we're so desperate to poke Cubans back to sea is because we don't recognize Cuba as a place. You can't think about it, right? We're like, Cuba's this communist country. We don't recognize it as a place that exists. Can you return people to a place that doesn't exist legally? You can't. Remember Elian Gonzalez? That's what that was about. If Cubans get here, they become citizens. That's why they've always been super loyal to conservatives, and Cubans are so confused now because they're like, we've been voting with you. Like, we thought you liked us. I love watching. I lived in Miami for a year when I was dating a very rich baseball player. And, I love watching the Venezuelans, the Cubanos, all of them be like, wait a minute, I thought you wanted our votes. I thought you promised us something. And he's gone back on every single promise he ever made. Yeah. So that's what you've got to think about. And everyone's like, Trump has done so much damage to his own cause. Trump is the best person on our team. Oh yeah. And one more thing I wanted to say, because I think it's just important to read out loud. MSNBC reported that Trump is about to deploy ICE military-style tactical units. Because I think the more reading I do, Gavin Newsom, the one thing I it keeps ringing in my head that he was saying was that this was California is a test run, right? Not just a test run, but to desensitize the American people. What will, and he knew no MAGA, he has made MAGA hate California. If MAGA was going to be okay with him invading anywhere, calling up the U.S. military on American soil, it would be California. This was a test run. I mean, I think that is 100% accurate to desensitize Americans to this type of military operations on U.S. soil. So this is just a report from MSNBC from yesterday. MSNBC reported that Trump is about to deploy ICE military-style tactical units to 5 Democratic-run cities: New York City, Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Alexandria, Virginia. He wants to spark clashes and confrontations, facts, between federal authorities in as many Democratic strongholds as possible, just like he did in LA. And keep in mind, right, that I could show you reports, and MAGA, you could just use your supercomputer you're watching on now and Google, of companies in Arkansas saying, spending massive amounts of ad dollars in Mexico, recruiting people to the U.S., undocumented people, and saying, you have a job here, just get here and we'll take care of you. And for some reason, he's terrorizing blue cities only, which I think is something to think about why, right? All Trump's trying to do, this is an authoritarian takeover where he fears he doesn't have control. That's where he's deploying the military. This has nothing to do with where are undocumented immigrants really, right? It's not about that. While many Republicans wanted to quickly, and this is also fascinating, because I've been watching this play out all week in Congress, watching all these clips. While many Republicans want to quickly pass a standalone funding bill for ICE, right? That was kind of what the Republicans said. Okay, Trump's trying to blow out the deficit, put our children's children in debt, blow out the deficit. We don't like that, but we do the real tried and true MAGAs, not the rich corporations, billionaires, and technocrats, right? The first MAGA, the original loyalists. They want all these people gone. So they're like the Freedom Caucus, for instance. They're like, let's just do a standalone bill and we'll give you the money in that standalone bill you want for ICE, right? But Satan himself, Budget Director Russ Vought, wanted to package it with the entire budget, the great big shit show bill, and tax cuts, to use it to blackmail Republicans to vote for the entire package. Oh, you want your mass deportations? Then you gotta give the tax cuts to the technocrats, the billionaires, and the corporations. That's why it's one big bill. Because they want you can't regulate AI for 10 years. I promised all these oil and gas billionaires all these kickbacks and favors, and I've got to get those through. So in order to get anything they want, they've got to help the rich, which I think a lot of MAGA, the one thing I agree with Steve Bannon on is Steve Bannon's very much the opposite. He hates Elon Musk. He hates not taxing corporations. He hates not taxing billionaires. He actually thinks they should be taxed. But if you're like, why the big, beautiful bill? That's why. Because it's like, if you want anything, you have to agree with me on everything. That is the strategy. Let's see. To use it to blackmail Republicans to vote for the entire package, including Medicaid cuts, or make mass deportations fiscally impossible. Vought threw down the gauntlet to holdouts last night on OAN. Quote, this is a quote from Satan himself, Russ Vought. There's a point probably in July where we're going to run out of money. Yeah, because nobody has spent more. Trump has spent billions and billions and billions more than Biden did the previous year already. We're going to run out of money. Critical border security resources have to come soon. They have to come in July for ICE and CBP to have necessary resources to continue their work. So you see, this is how they're dragging the bigots along with the rich technocrat billionaire corporations. They're saying, oh, do you want all the black people to get out of here? Well, you have to agree with us stealing from the poor to give to the rich. It's actually kind of brilliant. And just keep in mind, right? I just want to keep in mind, the height of encounters at the southern border was December 2023. From June 2024 to December 24, Biden, before Trump was in office, reduced encounters by 75% through executive order. And keep in mind, they didn't give Biden $1 for the border. Everything Biden did was with no additional budget or money, period. And he did that before Trump was even in office. And what Trump's doing now, through fear or through fire, whatever you want to call it. There is no crisis at the southern border. This is not real. Now we're just terrorizing 4-year-old kids with cancer and deporting them, or people who were interpreters in Afghanistan. There's no border emergency. But don't tell that to the bigots and racists. They need to believe there is. This is interesting from Punchbowl News. I was going to say Andrew Sherman. It's Jake Sherman that runs Punchbowl News. Things are not going well inside the Senate GOP meeting with Stephen Miller, per sources. Senator Ron Johnson and Miller got in a Ron, I'm a Wisconsin senator who lives in Palm Beach, Florida. Johnson, off my wife's company's money. And Stephen Bigot Miller, Stephen Joseph Goebbels reincarnate Miller, got into a shouting match over the border security funding number. Johnson said Miller's numbers don't add up. They don't. Lots of GOP senators leaving the room frustrated. Text from a GOP senator, quote, "We're fighting over an issue that unifies us. Can't wrap my head around it." Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around grifting and math that doesn't math. Do you know we did the budget in December, right? A clean, or not a clean CR, a CR with a bunch of poison pills. Then we gave them more money. Kristi Noem's asking for a new plane so she can fly around with her quote unquote, she's married. The man she's hanging around, I was screaming about this yesterday, is not her husband. She needs a new plane so she can travel the world with Corey. Good luck to them. If you don't believe me that Kristi Noem's having an affair, just look it up. Just look it up. She is. But I've got to hear Kristi Noem talk about other people. Oh, wait, I think I have a couple more I want to show you before I get to the clips. Senator Marco Rubio. Oh, Senator, what? Sorry. That's how I think of him. Secretary of State Lil Marco issued this statement, quote, "On behalf of the American people," oh yeah, now I remember, "I want to congratulate the Russian people on Russia Day." What has happened to Lil Marco? Lil Marco is not, blink 3 times if you've been body snatched. The U.S. remains committed to supporting the Russian people as they continue to build on their aspirations for a brighter future. This is just Ron at the bottom, Ron Filipkowski. He said, Lil Marco would have sent Mustache Man a Christmas card in 1943. He was giving a speech at some, I think it was like a think tank or some, I don't know if it was Young Republicans. And Lil Marco said, I think Trump was nervous. I'm paraphrasing now, but this is what it said. He basically said, I think Trump was nervous when he hired me that, because so many Democratic senators voted to confirm me. Pretty much everyone voted to confirm him. If you remember, I said the only 2 people in Trump's cabinet qualified for their jobs are Marco Rubio and the guy he fired, Mike Waltz. Those are the only 2 people that have the resume to occupy the position they were in. So a lot of Democratic senators voted for them. And Marco Rubio is like, no one would vote for me again. Yeah, congratulations on becoming a depraved idiot, doing the backstroke in the swamp. Yes, no one would vote for you again, weirdo. It's so weird. Oh, yeah. One more thing about the protests coming up. So this is a Washington Post quote. Some Trump supporters, now how they usually boycott Target over Pride Day and whatnot. Now they're trying to boycott Walmart because this has nothing to do. Walmart used to be my client when I sold advertising for the internet. They are not in any way liberal, but one of the Walton heiresses, what's her name? Christy Walton, I guess, is running some ads, right? That MAGA doesn't like. So now they want to boycott Walmart after an heiress to the nation's largest retailer took out an ad in the New York Times to promote a protest of the president's policies. She should join the Patriotic Millionaires. I always show their protest. The Patriotic Millionaires are a group of like a lot of Nepo baby, huge heiresses like Abigail. I think Abigail Disney runs it. And they're like people who have millions and billions of dollars that are like, we want to be taxed. We want to pay our fair share of taxes. If you've never looked up the Patriotic Millionaires, really interesting. The full page ad, which appeared in the newspaper on Sunday, was paid for by Christy Walton, advertises No King's Day gatherings across the country Saturday. The mobilizing events coincide with Trump's military parade in D.C. So now MAGA's saying, where's MAGA going to shop if they can't shop at Walmart? Among the lawmakers joining the fray was Anna Paulina Lunatic, which I'm reading this because I'm about to show you a clip of her being disgusting, who connected the ad directly to Walmart as she posted on X, quote, looks like the Walmart dynasty is big mad about China tariffs. Walmart responded, quote, the ads from Christy Walton are in no way connected to or endorsed by Walmart. She does not serve on the board or play any role in decision making at Walmart. They're like, we're awful people just like you. Like, can you imagine? Anna, you represent a district in Florida where people don't have a lot, and someone's supporting poor people not being robbed. That's an heiress for Walmart, and you're mad about that. You're like, hey, I can't believe someone who's the heir to the Walmart fortune would not want poor people to be robbed or brown people to be denied due process. This is who conservatives are. They're literal whack jobs. Wait till you see the clips I have of Paulina Luna. Okay, this is what I wanted to get to. Wait, did I say the name of the... This is a Quinnipiac poll. Quinnipiac. There, I said it right that time. Quinnipiac poll. Trump approval, 38%. Because yesterday I was going over the AP NORC poll results, which are just Trump is monster underwater. This is a Quinnipiac poll. Trump approval 38%, disapprove 54%. Approval of budget bill, disapprove 53%. Handling of immigration, approve 43%. And Quinnipiac is, I mean, when I think about it in my mind, I'm like conservative poll. I mean, it's not, the methodology is good. I just want to be clear. I've looked at it. But it usually favors conservatives. Handling of immigration, approve 43, disapprove 54. Remember the AP NORC poll we were going through yesterday? Was it? It might have been. It was either 54 or 55. It's right on par. Handling of economy. All right, it might have been 56. I have that screenshot. I can look it up. Handling of economy. Approve 40%. Disapprove 56. Remember, these were the things Trump was elected on. They're like, women can't do math, and let's get these brown and black people out of here. They're taking our jobs. That was that's why Trump was elected. Nobody seems to like him anymore. Handling of trade policy, approve 38%, disapprove 57%. Handling of universities, approve 37%, disapprove 54%. Handling of Russia-Ukraine war, approve 34%, disapprove 57%. Again, this is supposed to be the honeymoon period for a new president. The first 100 days and 100, even 200 days, this is the best it gets. And then it's just like sleigh ride into disappointment. And I don't want to discourage anyone. I want everyone to feel good, but it makes me think Trump doesn't plan on leaving office. Right. It makes me think we're not going to have a free and fair election, because if we were, why would he do this? How, you know what I'm saying? I just don't, it scares me a little bit. It just seems like there's no care for how anyone in this country, even his own voters, feel about him. Do you know what I'm saying? The recklessness, what I'm seeing now with Iran. Thank you, Billy Ray dipshit. Always the critical. Who wants to oil wrestle? Exactly. That might be the next. Oh, and he did approve. This is the AP North poll, but I had the numbers on immigration and stuff included. But yeah, Trump approval's at 39% in the AP North poll. Disapproval is 60%. And that's why I say Quinnipiac is always much more favorable to conservatives, and even this is underwater. Trump is drowning, but that's why I'm saying, and I'm saying this to protect us all. I want us all to think about what this means. If somebody was beholden to a free and fair election, why would they sink this far this fast? It scares me. Do you know what I'm saying? That's all. And I'm not saying it's for sure. I don't want it to be for sure. I would prefer to have elections. I just don't know if we're going to have free and fair elections, why he would be behaving like this. And I think we all need to consider that and start thinking about it. Sue, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Happy birthday, my friend. Make sure to use some of this to buy a cake or cupcakes. Oh, you know me. For you and your dad on your birthday. Appreciate you. Love, Sue. Appreciate you more. You're amazing. Truly. And I mean that truly. I love you. You're the best. What? I feel like I needed to read a couple more. What was I just thinking? I feel like I'm forgetting to read something. Whatever it is, I'll remember. I feel like I'm going to update live goals too, but let's get to some clips. Let me just check and make sure I'm not. I'm going to update the live goal. Yeah. Okay. I have this stuff. We don't need to go over this in writing because I have the clips of it. I think I've done enough to cover most of this. But yeah, I think a lot of Trump's behavior seems to be lining up with he wants some sort of war, right? He wants to be perpetually in a national emergency that aren't happening. There's no emergency at the southern border. There's absolutely no invasion. And if you are interested, I'm not saying to waste your energy on it at all, but there are so many great statistical analyses done by ProPublica, like proving that there's no invasion like at the southern border, that that other countries like Venezuela have said that they have a list of MS-13 members that no one Trump is arresting, no one is on that list. Like if every single claim Trump makes can be disproved through data or research. I promise you that. Get it? Like I said, I pay for one app that does statistical analyses and can handle like extreme amounts of data at one time. And once you have access to one of those, you could, if you don't believe a think tank, then you can check yourself with their own data. And I promise you, Trump is a liar. I don't think I need to convince anyone here of that, but okay. Now let's get to some clippies, because I love to watch things. When I was a kid, before I was a teacher, I used to think like, if we would just watch more videos, I would learn more. Like, stop talking and show me something. I'm such a visual learner. Okay, I wanted to go over, because I just want to give an update on what's going on with, let's say it's all related to immigration. It's a combination of Gavin Newsom, Kristi Noem, some Alex Padilla stuff, but it's just, since all of the stuff we covered together live in real time yesterday, it's kind of what has been going on since then. That's what I was trying to do. Oh yeah, never mind, I just forgot something. Oh man. Same line of logic, but again, so this was 13 hours ago, a few hours ago, it's probably 16 now. Judge Breyer, who's in Northern California, I think appointed by Clinton, because now everyone wants to know that stuff, orders Trump to return control of the National Guard back to California, saying it was illegal. I know some people have probably seen, which by the way, I know not everyone is interested in reading legal documents like I am, but this reads like a really great story, 36 pages. And if you want to learn about Trump's bullshit lies, this has the actual data, the full arrest numbers, everything proving that there's no emergency going on in California that would require the National Guard, let alone the effing Marines. It also, I don't want to brag, but when Fax and I were live on Monday, I think there was like 1,700 people watching. I think we were debating that Andrew guy, and we were talking about the section in the United States code that Trump used to call up the National Guard. And Andrew kept listing those three things and repeating the reasons. And I was like, you need to read the phrase under it that says, like, even if any of those things occurred, which Judge Breyer basically says none of those things legitimately occurred. But even if they did, you still call up the National Guard in concert with the governor, right? Like the governor is who calls up the National Guard. And all of those points that judge listed, it's a brilliant 36 pages. But I know people have probably read that an appellate court, an appeals court, paused the National Guard, not necessarily doing anything, but leaving the state. And basically that just says, in anticipation of the protests that are scheduled for tomorrow, that the National Guard's going to remain in California or won't be removed until, oh my gosh. So hold on. I have this written, one of these many things. Actually, maybe I don't. I think I'm just trying to remember when the next hearing is. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. So it's not necessarily that they need to be doing stuff on the streets. Like an appellate court just said, stay there until the next hearing kind of thing. So they do need to leave, but it's paused essentially. Here, actually, I might have texted all this to myself. I just remembered. I think I did text this to myself in anticipation. I might want to read it to you guys. Explosions, no kings. Okay, let me just ask my AI up. I think this will be faster. When did the appellate court say the next hearing? Oh my gosh, so many spelling mistakes. My right hand sucks. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, that's the appellate court on Thursday, temporarily. So again, like the headlines are so salacious, it makes you lose hope. But I would suggest reading Judge Breyer's 36-page opinion. It's brilliant on how Trump continues to overreach with his powers. But the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals on Thursday temporarily blocked a federal judge's order that directed President Donald Trump to return control of the National Guard troops to California after he deployed them there following protests in the LA immigration raids. The court said, okay, that's what it was. It is Tuesday. My brain's working. The court said it would hold a hearing on the matter on June 17th. The ruling only came hours after Judge Breyer's order was to take effect at noon today. It should be in effect right now. Earlier Thursday, Charles Breyer, But that and again, I don't want to say how I think could go, but I do think Judge Breyer's order is making sense, and I do not think they will stay. I think that I've noticed something. Again, it's just another pattern, but I think this is just like they keep giving Trump a little something so he'll remain calm. Like I noticed one of the things Trump posted on, I think, Tuesday of this week was he was like, a federal court said that I can do whatever I want with tariffs. No, they effing didn't. They said that your stupid, ridiculous tariff power could remain in place while they set up an expedited process to rule on it by the end of summer, right? It doesn't mean that Trump's right at all. He just lies and says he is. It's just like, hey, while we figure this out, basically the appeals court said, hey, like, they'll stay where they are in California. There's a bunch of protests this weekend. And then on Tuesday, we're going to figure this out for real. So, but I was going to go over more of Judge Breyer's order because it has beautiful information, but I might save it for Monday with facts in my life because I think it's better discussion than it is me just like boring everyone with information. Let's get into some clippies because Christy Noem's driving me effing insane. By the way, wait till you see the picture I have of Christy Noem. Oh my God.
We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country.
What? So you're saying the democratically elected governor of the fourth largest economy in the world that monitors and benefits from the western seaboard and all the shipping lanes are socialists? Like, this is literally like Pyongyang. This is like North Korea type lying. What are you talking about, Christy? Christy, you are a liar. Hold on. I'm just going to update this gift goal really quick before I move to the next clip. That way I don't have to. Okay. Gotcha. Here we go. Yeah, look. I love how she said this. And I want MAGA, if you're not a disingenuous liar, which that's 99.9% of you out right now, but just picture this. Thank you so much for the start. Listen to what this person wrote on top, replied to this clip. Imagine Mayorkas showing up in Lubbock, Texas, which I want to say, forget Lubbock. Imagine him showing up in the backwoods of Arkansas or Mississippi or Louisiana and saying something like that. What if Mayorkas, this is the same job. Remember when they impeached Mayorkas for nothing? And we've got this whack job running around trying to get a nicer plane for her marital affair, allegedly, whatever, according to all the news outlets that continue to report on it. I thought it might be over until all the news outlets confirmed it wasn't when Trump was reelected. But imagine if Mayorkas showed up in like Missouri and was like, yep, we're rooting out all the socialists. Like, what? This is crazy. Okay, so let's get into a couple clips from yesterday talking about Alex Padilla.
This is hugely consequential because I think the governor and mayor of Los Angeles are right. I think they're testing out their ability to essentially commandeer National Guards throughout the country and use them for their own purposes. One thing that got lost in the horrendous treatment of Alex Padilla today was what Kristi Noem said at that press conference in saying that it was necessary to have these troops there to liberate the city from the socialists. That's the kind of rhetoric the administration is using. That's the kind of perspective they have. And the fact that they would abuse the military that way and justify it that way is unconscionable. So this ruling tonight is a huge win for California, but also an important win for the country and for the idea of civilian control over the military, and in particular, control by governors over their own National Guards.
He's referring to Judge Breyer's 36-page ruling that I'm telling you, it is so beautiful. You should read it, because this was before the appellate court said wait till Tuesday, right? But I think the ruling, I don't know. Actually, I don't want to say that because I never know, but I do think the ruling will probably stand. Once I read it, I was like, oh, and I don't know if you guys remember when Matt and Steve and I were live on Tuesday night, and I was saying, hey, this is probably good news. On Thursday, there's going to be this court hearing. And I think in the last place, the truth matters under oath in court. There will be the truth about, quote unquote, the LA riots that never were. And yeah, look at the math. I think there were like, oh, I should pull it up. Actually, why not? I have it. Let me just pull it up really quick and show you a couple things. Because if you want some sanity in a world of insanity, I do highly recommend looking at this ruling, because it explains, like I said, I was like, this is a place where you can't lie, and they'll put a lot of very interesting information in there. You know, that's the truth. Oh God, I forgot about my new. Hold on, I just got to log in really quick. I got a new iPad and I haven't done my logins to things yet. Okay, I think we're good. God, no, I don't want to upgrade. I already pay you enough. Okay. I want to just show a couple sections that are super. I mean, it reads like a brilliant story. It's not boring in any way, super easy to understand. There's definitions written in it. You could tell they wrote it for MAGA in case any MAGA people wanting to learn how the Constitution works. They're like, this is as simple as we can say it for people who can't read. On June 6, 2025, Immigrations and Customs began carrying out, I love how they told the real story of the immigration raids, right? Began carrying out immigration raids in Los Angeles. The Associated Press reported that ICE, and everything is so beautifully cited. This is like a research paper. This judge did a great job. Reported that ICE executed search warrants at multiple locations across Los Angeles. Los Angeles Police Chief Jim McDonnell said that federal officials did not brief his department. So Trump lied about that. Just that's another thing MAGA continues to lie about, that the LAPD was briefed on all this, which made it difficult to respond to the mobs of people who began to protest. See, and you could see how they cite every source. See, LAPD, Jim McDonnell says, violence I have seen is disgusting, recounting attacks on cops. Okay. ICE reportedly targeted, quote, several locations in downtown LA and its immediate surroundings that are known to have significant migrant populations and labor-intensive industries. These included Home Depot stores, a donut store, a clothing wholesaler. Ultimately, between 70 and 80 people were detained and 44 arrested. State and city leaders expressed disapproval and concern. They talk about Newsom's quotes. Some members of the public gathered in protest. A group of people assembled at the site of an ICE operation in Los Angeles Garment District. If you've ever been to LA, downtown LA, like this is not where the people of LA, it's just fascinating to me. MAGA has no understanding of LA. That evening, protesters reportedly marched in downtown Los Angeles. Listen, now MAGA, can you hear this? These are court documents. You can't lie. These are primary sources. So now we can find out about your quote unquote LA riots. Someone tell me, someone look up, what's the current population of LA? What is population of LA? Wait, am I looking it up right? Yeah, 3.821 million. Okay, 3.8 million. That evening, so there were 800 protesters at two sites. 800 total protesters at two sites. Some protesters, and it's honest about any violence. Some protesters, and I just want to say, because when I was debating with Pickles, someone accused me of not condemning violence. I want to be very clear. It's not, I do condemn violence. Like if we're protesting, let's do it peacefully. What I will not admit to is that it was leftist, because I learned that after reading so many of the court documents about George Floyd protests. I don't think any leftist was waving a Mexican flag. Like, I think that was probably a bad actor. And if it wasn't cool, whoever shouldn't be doing it. But what I learned from the George Floyd protests and all the research studies thereafter were that bad actors always enter protests, appear to look like angry protesters while trying, what they tried to accuse the FBI of, what turned out to be true, not be true. What I'm saying is, liberal causes, bad actors from the right enter those protests. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, look up the Boogaloo Boys and then read court documents about the bad actors involved in the George Floyd protests. I condemn all violence. I just don't know who committed the acts of violence. That's what I'm not going to take. I'm not going to say it was the left. I think the left was overwhelmingly peaceful, and any violence should not have occurred, whoever it was. I just don't know who it was. So they say some people threw concrete chunks, bottles of liquid, and other objects at Federal Protective Service officers guarding a parking lot gate. Some protesters attempted to, quote, to use large rolling commercial dumpsters as a battering ram. Officers protected the gate entrance with pepper balls and other non-lethal force until LAPD arrived and pushed the crowd away. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm just trying to. Then, because when Steve and I were debating with Andrew, he brought this up, that the LAPD then declared unlawful assembly, which that's what you have to do before the LAPD rains down unholy terror. You have to say, this is out of control. You can't legally gather here. That's what any police force declares before they start before they start breaking things up, as the LAPD loves to do. And while some individuals resisted, the protesters departed by 11 p.m. 2 federal buildings were vandalized. 2, not the entire city of Los Angeles burning down, and sustained minor damage. I'm so glad the truth is in this document. On June 7th, both the ICE operations and responsive protests continued. During the evening hours of June 7th, the protest at the Metropolitan Detention Center was fairly in control. Right? This is before Trump decided to become crazy, with some protesters targeting the building. Federal officers pushed protesters away, while LAPD officers moved in front and declared unlawful assembly. Again, that's the warning, right? You declare unlawful assembly before you start, spraying the rubber bullets and doing horrible things to the crowd. You have to say that before you use force. Most of the protesters had left by 2:15 a.m. Most of the protesters had left the area. In Paramount and Compton, so these now the two locations, there were about 300 to 400 protesters present. That's it. Can you guys do math? No, you can't. But just to be clear, there were no riots going on in LA. Okay, I want to get to some of the legal stuff, though, because I can go into this forever. So, okay, here we go. I just want to get to the Trump part where Trump enters and incites a bunch of violence. Federalizing the National Guard and continued protests. Trump intervened in response to the protests on the evening of June 7th, right? We all know that. The memo asserted this is Trump's actual in writing what he said about this. Numerous incidences of violence and disorder have recently occurred and threatened to continue in response to the enforcement of federal law by ICE and other United States government personnel. It continued, quote, to the extent that protests or acts of violence directly inhibit the execution of laws, they constitute a form of rebellion against the authority of government. The memo explained that due to these incidences, which I've just read the actual numbers that were submitted in court, which that's not a riot in any shape or form. The memo explained that due to these incidents and credible threats of continued violence, President Trump was invoking 10 USC 12406. That's the thing we kept talking about on Monday, the law he used to invoke the calling up of the National Guard. At first 200 officers, 2,000 and then 2,000 more. Defendants, that's Trump, did not notify Governor Newsom. So Newsom was telling the truth. They did not notify Governor Newsom of their intent to federalize the California National Guard prior to issuing the June 7th memo. So Trump posted that on the internet and Gavin Newsom had no idea. Governor Newsom only learned of the June 7th Department of Defense order from the adjutant general after the adjutant general received it. So someone else told Gavin Newsom. Then Gavin Newsom issued a statement. The federal government is taking over the California National Guard and deploying 2,000 soldiers in Los Angeles, not because there's a shortage of law enforcement, but because they want a spectacle. Then, on June 8th, that's Sunday, the New York Times reported that President Trump wrote on social media that he had directed cabinet officials to, quote, take any actions necessary to liberate Los Angeles from the migrant invasion. We're going to have troops everywhere, end quote. The National Guard troops. So remember, Trump said in a post on Truth Social Saturday night, he'd saved everyone. The troops didn't arrive till the 8th, so that was a lie. They arrived in Los Angeles on June 8th, but, quote, it was not clear what role they were to play or what orders they were provided, and, quote, there were concerns that they, quote, did not have the equipment or training necessary to handle the situation. Initially that morning, the city was quiet. The protests had basically stopped. When everyone heard what Trump was up to, that afternoon, this is why Gavin Newsom was saying Trump incited more protests after it was under control. I read the first protest numbers, which were basically like parkfuls of like 2 or 3 parks with people in it. Now, on Sunday afternoon, because Trump's not smart, protesters increased to about 3,500, particularly near the Metropolitan Detention Center, where the National Guard was deployed. This is a quote. Many protesters appeared angry that the National Guard had been federalized and was now present in their city. This is what we say. No one needed to come there. The LAPD is the military. They're armed like the military. Trump incited a riot. This is what Trump does. Trump creates a giant problem and then announces that he's going to fix the problem he created as if he did not create said problem. We are in a nightmare. Oh, sorry. I saw someone say Joby. What happened? Joby, did you buy subscriptions? Joby, thank you for the giveaway subs. Thank you so much. Joby, sorry, I know I'm reading a lot. It's hard for me to keep track of other things when reading. Are these also from Joby? Yeah. Are these the second ones? I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Thank you, Joby. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're amazing, as always. I was going to say happy birthday to me, but it's not even, you do that when it's not my birthday. So I appreciate you so much. Look, we're at 451 of 500. Thank you. So the city was quiet. Once everyone heard Trump was turning the U.S. military on American citizens, there were 3,500 people protesting near the detention center where they were deployed. I'm not going to get into all this, but again, I just think this is a great, easy thing to read. If you're ever wondering where the facts are to prove there was no riot in Los Angeles, and Trump incited a riot and then acted like he didn't. And I think there's so many good facts. I just want to read one other. Here we go. Section 12406's conditions for federalization. That's the law, the United States Code Trump used to turn the American military on U.S. citizens. I just want to prove that I was not wrong. Through the Militia Act of 1903, Congress authorized the president to, quote, call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as necessary, but only if, 1, the United States or any of the commonwealths or possessions is invaded or is in danger of invasion by a foreign nation. 2, there is a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. Or 3, the president is unable with regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. President Trump nor Secretary Hegseth specified by a citation to the statute which of these conditions justified federalizing the National Guard. This is Judge Breyer saying, I don't know what they were thinking. Though President Trump's memorandum suggests that he relied on the second, the third, or both, June 7th memo, to the extent that the protests or acts of violence directly inhibit the execution of laws, they constitute a form of rebellion, blah, blah, blah. Defendants confirm, so again, this is Trump, in their opposition brief and at the July 12th hearing that they rely on the second and third options. He's saying, no one made it clear, but that's what they said at the hearing after the fact. Defendants also challenge whether the court can even properly evaluate whether these conditions were met. So Trump's lawyers not only are trying to claim something that wasn't real, but they're saying that this judge couldn't possibly decide whether or not what they're saying is true or not. Justice, I didn't even know this was a word. Justiciability, whatever. It is emphatically the province and duty of the judicial department to say what the law is. So now Judge Breyer, if you understand legal jargon, is saying, it is my job to say what the law is. He's now scolding Trump. Thus, federal courts have, quote, no more right to decline the exercise of jurisdiction which is given than to usurp that which is not given. He's saying, I have no more right to not interpret the law than I have to, to take over the law. The Supreme Court has I'm not going to get into legal jargon, but this is beautifully written. And then he starts citing previous Supreme Court decisions to prove that he has the right to decide. I want to read one more part. Defendants, and this is where he's like, you're wrong, Trump. Defendants misconstrue. And this is what I said on Monday when I was live with Facts. So I just want to say, I did say this. It's recorded and posted on YouTube. Defendants misconstrue. Andrew Butler, I hope you're listening. This is for you because you misconstrued this. The plain language of USC 12406, however, the statute permits the president to federalize the National Guard whenever one of the three enumerated conditions are met, not whenever he determines that one of them is met. Get it? It's all three, not one. 10 USC 12406. Defendants point to the language providing that the president may call into federal service and any units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute the laws. But he's saying, but their argument puts the cart before the horse. For the president to exercise his discretion as to how many National Guard members or units to federalize, there must be an invasion, rebellion, or inability to execute the laws. So he's saying exactly what I said, that none of those three conditions, let alone all three, had been met for Trump to do any of what he did. And if you understand federal judges, he starts talking to Trump like he's a child. Trump will never read this, but he's literally starts looking up definitions of rebellion, citing court cases to disprove that anything Trump was stating had ever happened. Like he has Oxford Dictionary definitions of rebellion in here. So I just want to be clear, rebellion. Section 12406 does not define the term rebellion, so the court must interpret the term consistent with its ordinary meaning at the time Congress enacted the statute. And he gets out the dictionary, lists all three: open, organized, and armed resistance to establish government or ruler, an organized attempt to change the government or leader of a country through violence. If you're wondering, the judge says of the three definitions, the first one is relevant, and definitely that was never happening. Which, sorry, Andrew, this judge smacked your Monday's argument down. Then he's using Black's Law Dictionary to define a rebellion, an open and avowed renunciation of the authority of the government. Did anyone who was upset about immigration raids ever do that? No, of course not. He's using the Cyclopedic Dictionary Law, American Dictionary of English Language. This is just, they're giving Trump a vocab lesson. Like, I can't. It's hilarious. Anyways, I highly suggest reading this and referring to it often and early, because it is great. If you need the proof in writing, I knew it. I was like, just wait till the court documents come out and we'll see if this was a riot. Of course it wasn't. Anyways, we need to get on to the clips, but you know me. I love the facts. It just makes me happy. Get into court documents, their primary sources, and the court is the last place anyone in the Trump administration is capable of being honest. Truly. If you care about the truth, get real familiar with court documents, because there's nowhere else Trump is even trying to tell the truth. Oh, before I get to the clips, I want to show you one more thing I forgot to show you. This is Trump's answer to he's mass deporting brown and black people who we need, right? Who are supplementing our economy. And this is what he was posting all week on his True Social. This is now, he set up a website. Trump is going to charge $5 million. TrumpCard.gov. If you don't believe me, look it up yourself. For $5 million, the Trump card is coming. It's now a website. You can go there and fill out your information if you're interested in giving Trump $5 million for citizenship and access to the United States. This is the actual screenshot I took of the website to prove it. The Trump card is coming. Enter your information below to be notified the moment access opens. This is if you want citizenship, you pay $5 million and anyone can have citizenship in the United States. Trump's selling it. This is the information. You can say it's just for me or it's for my family or whoever. This is what I'm just taking screenshots from his own website. Trump is now going to sell U.S. citizenship. Yes, I can see the call. I know. You can't believe this is real. Neither can I. No, but this is my same point. Just know, if you're rich, you'll never be you can buy your way out of a crime. You can buy your way into citizenship. What we are saying is, if you have money, then you have standing in the U.S. You have value. If you don't have money, you don't exist. Then you're a criminal. Then you're a liar. Then you're a shitbag. If you have money, you're above the law. You can immigrate here anytime you want. This is the reality, and it benefits not any of us, even you, MAGA, in cognitive dissonance. That you should not want only people with money to have value in this country. If you have money, then you're not a criminal. Oh, you have money, then you can come live in the United States. How is that a reality good for anyone but billionaires? It's not. Sorry, I'm very passionate I've been very mad all morning going through all this. It's so frustrating. Okay, let me go back to I want to get to my Gavin Newsom and Alex Padilla clips because they're super important. Oh, I want to show this Karen Bass clip. Karen Bass, who, if you don't know, she's currently the mayor of LA, but she served in Congress. Again, I'm just showing you the quote. I didn't even know this about her. She said, I served in Congress with Secretary Noem for 10 years, and Madam Secretary, I do not recognize you anymore. I was like, this is getting insane.
Which is a lie. And I just have to say, I served with the secretary. I served with the secretary for probably about 10 years in Congress. And Madam Secretary, I do not recognize you anymore. I do not know Kristi Noem that I served with for 10 years.
Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. Jump scare. Prepare yourselves. You're about to see a very scary picture of Kristi Noem. I guess that's what she looked like when she was in Congress. What the? Can you say Karen? She has the Karen hair. What happened to Christine? How old is Christina? This was 10 years ago. I know. I knew when you guys remember I said I had a picture of Kristi Noem you all needed to see. Now she's from South Dakota. There she is. This was probably pre-adultery. She's like, oh, I can't look like S. And have affairs in DC. The actual Karen, does that not look like a wig that's just on her head? Like, yes, the Kate plus, the good old fashioned Kate +8 haircut. Yes, it is. Okay, Kristi, I didn't know she was in Congress for 10 years. How the F old is Kristi now? Like, I don't even want to know. Like, that explains a lot about her face. So again, let's move on, though. This is a video. I have more videos of Alex Padilla. He did an interview last night that was really interesting. I'm going to show you as well. But this is the video he posted like immediately after being, tackled, knee in the back, and definitely handcuffed despite Kristi Noem lying. Oh, God. Sorry. I didn't add I have to get the video. Oh, no. It's here. Sorry. I thought I didn't add it, but I did. Okay, tap the screen. Let's get to 450K. Let's get to 500K. This video is kind of long. So this is what Alex first posted before the interviews.
Hi, everyone. This is Senator Alex Padilla.
I want to begin this video by just saying thank you to everybody who's reached out to me, to Angela, to my office, expressing your support because of what's happened today. It means the world to me. I certainly have heard your support and I feel your support, so thank you. For those who may not be aware, I was in the federal building in Los Angeles today for a scheduled briefing with representatives of Northern Command because of what's been happening in Los Angeles and Donald Trump's unacceptable escalation of tension here in Los Angeles as the Department of Homeland Security has continued to increase the cruelty and the extremism of their immigration enforcement operations. While I was waiting for the briefing, I learned that just down the hall from where I was, Secretary Noem from the Department of Homeland Security was having a press conference. Now, Secretary Noem and the department we have been calling on and we have been sending letters to since the beginning of the year requesting more information as to what and why they are doing with little to no response. And so I thought, let me go over there and listen in on the press conference. Maybe they're sharing some important information. While I did that, escorted over there by a National Guardsman and an FBI agent.
Are you guys listening? This is a federal building. You can't enter without reason to be there. He was escorted into said building by an FBI agent. And are we getting this? They knew he was there. They let him into the press conference. He was there for another scheduled meeting and he was escorted into that press conference by an FBI agent. And Christina was like, no one knew who he's like, oh, nobody can tell brown people apart. Like, not only is that a disgusting microaggression and a lie, but he was only in that building because the FBI, he had a scheduled meeting in a federal building and was escorted by an FBI agent into that press conference. Like, that's the part I think is insane.
With little to no response. And so I thought, let me go over there and listen in on the press conference. Maybe they're sharing some important information. While I did that, escorted over there by a National Guardsman and an FBI agent, I just heard nothing but increasing political rhetoric. Not once, but on multiple occasions, they're claiming that, they're there in full force in Los Angeles because they need to rescue the people of Los Angeles from the governor and from the mayor. And I just couldn't accept the rhetoric anymore. So I had the audacity to try to ask a question. I introduced myself.